get through those hard times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I had to make it difficult or miserable.
No.
But
Sure.
I walk in, same thing. First grandbaby.
Yep.
I walk into the hospital an hour, 2 hours maybe after she was born.
Yep.
And the moment I held her, I was like, oh, I'm not making your life hard at all. That's mom and dad's job.
Yeah.
I get to spoil you.
Yeah.
And I am so looking forward to her being old enough to start to do those things.
That's right.
And my kids are going to look at me and say, you never did that for me. Nope. And I wasn't your grandpa.
That's right. That's right. And that's, like as a parent, right, our job, certainly one of our primary jobs is to prepare our kids for life. And so, yeah, that means introducing them to hard things, walking through them with hard things, being there when they fall down to help them get back up again in all sorts of ways.
In all sorts of ways, yes.
Yeah, so 4 kids, grandkid. I've lived here in Alaska since 2014. Alaska is a place I've always wanted to come to. I grew up in the Northeast. I'm a Massachusetts boy. I grew up in between Boston and Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. East Coaster. Sometimes from a guy who has always had more of a conservative bent, you felt like the only person in the room that was actually hearing the problem when you listen to some of these folks talk. So it's been good to be in Alaska that way. And a physician assistant. I went back to college at 26 or 27. I can't ever remember. I think I was 27 when I started school back up again. Had 3 kids. The 4th ended up being born while I was in college, and went to become a physician assistant because I wanted to do something other than swing a hammer. I'd worked in the construction industry and I enjoyed it, and I found some satisfaction there, but I wanted to I felt like I could offer something to other people. Growing up in the church, I had always kind of thought I'd end up in ministry at some point, and more I realized I didn't want to be in ministry when I saw like the jobs that pastors had to do and people that worked at the church. I don't want any of those jobs, but I want to be in people's lives in a meaningful way. Did medicine, and I've done that on and off. I guess that's a quick intro on me.
Okay.
Since being here in Alaska, I have gone and worked in church ministry as well. So I was a pastor for a while, and then stepped out of that role and went back to construction and then back to medicine. And we can get into some of that if it's interesting at all.
That's
and
where we're going to go.
We can go from there for sure. I'm glad to be here with you. And like we were talking about before, man, it's going to be a fun conversation because I know where your brain goes and am curious to see how that leads us.
Absolutely. So curious.
Yeah.
Construction. You were in the field. You were swinging a hammer.
Yep. I was a sheet metal worker.
Sheet metal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Specifically.
Okay. So commercial, residential.
I did commercial, residential, and industrial. Where we worked in Massachusetts, there was a lot of jewelry and manufacturing. And so I actually worked for, if you ever bought a high school ring, the 3 companies out there, or 2 that I know of, are Jostens and Balfour. Balfour is based in the city that I grew up in. Jostens is around the corner in the next state over in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And so I did hoods for their smelters. One of the last big projects I did, there was a manufacturing plant that was smelting down refining metals. And so I made 1/8-inch stainless steel hoods to mount directly onto the smelting pots and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. So I work construction.
Yep.
And part of why I like working construction is the personable aspect of it. In the aspect of when you're done and you hand over something, it feels like you have created something of value in someone's life.
Yeah.
Now, I know you get into some of the bigger industrial stuff, you get into some of the bigger commercial projects, there's a lot less of that feel. So I prefer the smaller projects. I prefer the one-on-one, the relational trading back and forth in the... And I have found that I get a massive amount of satisfaction there. But obviously, not enough because I'm here doing this.
Hey, there's another itch that needs to be scratched, right? And I totally get that. And I'm self-admittedly ADHD enough that I recognize that same tendency in my own brain. Like, oh wait, that looks kind of fun and shiny over there, and maybe that could be interesting. And so I think what I've done over the years is more than try and find that specific thing in any one vocation, I try and find that thing in every vocation, right? Like in everything that someone does, you can find that little thing that gives you that moment of handing those keys over. Right? Like, and I think that's what makes the difference when you have someone who is good at their job and enjoys their job. So like, take, for instance, here in Alaska, right? We have all these coffee shacks. Do you have a favorite coffee shack that you go to? No.
No.
Really? Okay.
No.
So I have a favorite brand. And
So do I.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the big part of it for me is one of the baristas or a couple of the baristas that work at those specific stands, because when they stop and they take a moment and they say, "Hey, Mike, how you doing? You getting your drink this morning?" And they check in and say, "Hey, how's your day?" Like, it's more than just a coffee.
100%.
Right?
That's
It's that
exactly
I
exchange.
100% agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
It's more than just a coffee.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I think as I've grown and gotten older, right, I feel like I jumped from occupation to occupation. If I showed you my resume, I have, my wife and I counted it last time. In the 25 years we've been married alone, I have almost 30 jobs, right? And that's some in the same industry, some in multiple different industries of varying types and things like that.
Okay.
And so, but what I've come to is if I can find that one little thing or find that thing that like makes me come alive, I can do just about anything. Right? So if it's mopping the floor and I can think about, man, I'm preparing this room for something to happen and someone else's life is going to be affected by it, I can find a little bit of value and meaning in that occupation as I do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah?
That's good, because the short of where I am in my life now, which has taken many years,
Sure.
many career paths,
Sure.
a lot of learning, a lot of loss. Like,
Sure.
I'm in a position with my company that I probably shouldn't be in with how long I've been with the company,
Mm-hmm.
but I should definitely be in with how long I've been in life.
Yeah.
Like just my history, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And short of where I am currently, the best paying job I ever had was working on the slope.
Mm.
And when I was working on slope, I was on an oil rig.
Mm-hmm.
And the only satisfaction I got out of that job was getting on the airplane to go home to see the family.
And getting the paycheck when it came in.
100%.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was the satisfaction.
Yeah.
I think I drug bags home probably half a dozen times
Yeah.
because I didn't want to go back. Like, it didn't matter what I got. The
Mm-hmm.
satisfaction didn't exist. And I'm very much like you. I have a wide range on my resume. Like,
Sure.
when I put a resume together for a job,
Sure.
I just leave most of the stuff off.
I
because
pick and
it's-
choose.
it's-
Yeah,
yeah.
I do too. I'm like, I'm applying for a job in medicine. They don't want to really hear how I climbed trees for a year and a half in Boston, right? That doesn't pertain.
It doesn't pertain. So we're just going to leave that one off of
That's
there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But that I did that for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, but through that I lost a marriage. I lost relation with my kids. There's a heavy cost to pay that, and it's not the job's fault.
No.
It was my reaction and my choices.
Sure.
You know, I'm not trying to put
Sure.
blame on something.
Sure.
But that lifestyle,
Yeah.
it led down some bad paths. And when I think when I quit the slope was the moment I decided that I was not going to take a job just for a paycheck. That was the moment I realized I had to have some satisfaction
It's good.
in what I did,
Yeah.
or it just didn't make sense.
Yeah. No, and I get that. And, it's even continued to drive that desire for me, right? Like, I feel like I have an entrepreneurial spirit, but I've never started my own business. And so, like, there's this thing in my brain, there's this itch, right? That I'm like, okay, at some point I'm going to have to scratch that itch and figure out what it is. And as I talk about it, I don't even care what the business is, right? Like, medicine has been probably the majority of the last 15 years of my life. But like the business ideas I'm coming up with are like import export, like off-road recovery companies, like all kinds of stuff that I'm like have nothing to do with medicine. And I'm totally fine with that. Right? Like, oh yeah, you have a degree in student loans and all that other stuff. Yeah, flush it down the toilet. That's all right. I still want to do something that I enjoy doing every day.
100%. That's invaluable.
It is.
So with that entrepreneurial spirit
Yeah.
and the fact that you're not at the moment,
Yep.
do you think it's something you're actually going to step into, or is it more of a dreamland for you?
Man, it's been a dreamland. And I think the balance for me is, if I'm being completely blunt,
Yeah.
not being is getting to the point of not being scared to step out and try it. Because
Okay.
not the fear of failure, but the fear of dragging other people down with me is, I think, the bigger fear. Like, if I fail, I'm okay. If it's just me and my wife, we'll probably be okay. When I had 4 kids at home, that was a different weight, right? Like, I'm going to let them down and it's going to affect their life. And if I start a business and I have a bunch of employees or a bunch of customers that we service, like, and I don't know if it's probably not the right answer, but
it's a real answer.
Yeah,
though.
It is. And that's, I think, the fear of not succeeding at it has kept me from taking that leap a few times.
Okay.
And so we'll see.
Okay.
I'd like to. I really would.
I'm just curious because I'm the one who drive fast.
Yeah.
Put it into the corner at 90.
Yeah.
Hope you come out the other side.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I like that.
I've done it my whole life. Now, with that said, I've lost some.
Yeah.
I have moved back into a basement.
Yeah.
I have,
Yeah.
I've been in some dire straits.
Right.
And my kids have paid part of that cost.
Yeah.
It's like my boy, he's 17, fixing to be 18 and graduate, and the whole kit and caboodle. He'll graduate here in a couple months.
Sweet.
Mid-year. And he's going to go start an apprenticeship as an electrician.
Cool.
He has zero desire, to go do something of his own.
Okay.
He wants to do real estate,
Okay.
buy, hold, rent,
Okay.
and because he saw what I went through.
Yeah.
And as a father, I can say I tried.
Yeah.
I definitely tried.
Yeah.
But they've paid the cost. They've had
Yeah.
some super lean Christmases for it.
We've had Christmases. I remember one Christmas where the only presents the kids got were what the couple at church that decided to show up and give them presents, right? Like, yeah, I remember those Christmases as a dad too. Yeah,
they
dude.
suck as a dad, man. You talk about
They suck.
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what? That's
but
part
you
of
know
that.
what? The kids don't care.
They really don't.
They don't care. They don't even know.
Mine don't
And
remember
even if
those
they did,
Christmases.
they won't say anything. I mean, it's
They don't remember them. They know at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
They don't remember them.
Yeah.
As long as we're cooking cookies, we're doing hot chocolate, we're going out sledding, we're finding something.
Yeah.
Those are the things that they remember as time goes on.
Yeah. That power of presence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And
No, that's good. That's good. It's and I even as you're saying that, I think about some of the things like, man, I've definitely been affected by my parents, right? Like the lifestyle that they lived when I was growing up has affected my desires as a young man and as a man now. But I can also see how the things that I've dragged my kids through have affected their viewpoint on like same type of thing, right? Wanting, whether it's being entrepreneurial or not, or seeking a trade and some stability or something else, right? Like I can see how the paths that I've led them on have led to that same kind of, they're making different choices than I had anticipated with their personality or whatever. You know what I mean?
So I remember, like, there are things. I'm 42 years old.
Okay.
And there are moments growing up that just stick with you. There's a very specific bike wreck when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
That I remember vividly. I will never forget that moment
Sure.
when I hit that bike wreck.
Sure.
There's other things that I remember vividly, but one of the things that I super vivid remember was talking with my dad one day. And my dad, dude, he raised 9 kids.
Wow.
My mom was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooled all of us in California.
Wow.
Okay, we were the weirdos down the block.
Yeah.
Like,
Where in California were you?
we were LA County for the most part. We were in Lake Arrowhead. We were
Okay.
in Claremont. We were in Temecula. We were in Marietta.
Okay.
All over the Southland, but inland from LA, so east of LA,
Yep.
between LA and San Diego.
Okay.
I remember my dad he worked a lot. He was an LA County firefighter, paramedic, and he worked as much overtime as he did regular time, and that's just what it took to keep us all in clothes and shoes and food and cereal and sports and, I mean, all the things, right?
Right.
And growing up, never saw my parents drink, never saw them party, never saw none of that existed.
Okay.
Nothing. I knew later in life that they drank because one time I found a 24-ounce beer that they had chosen to split in the privacy of their bedroom when I was taking out the garbage.
Sure.
Like that was the extent of that. But I remember one day I was with my dad, and like I looked up to him. He was my hero, you know.
Sure.
And I was like, Dad, I'm going to start training. I was probably 13, 14. I was like,
Okay.
I'm going to start training, and I'm going to become a firefighter, paramedic, and
Sure.
because I
Be like Dad.
I wanted to be like Dad.
Yeah.
I loved the fact that he was able to provide for the family. I loved that he was a man's man. Like
Yep.
there was just a lot of things about
Yep.
my dad I really, really
Sure,
appreciated.
sure.
And I remember him looking at me, and he goes, "Why do you want to do that?" I was like, "'Cause I want to be like you, Dad."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I like one of the most vivid conversations. He goes, "You don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot better things
Mm-hmm.
and more productive things you can do in your life.
Mhm.
You don't want to do that."
Mm-hmm.
And that moment set me on this trajectory of being okay with doing something totally different.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know if it's good or not, but it definitely set me on that trajectory. Like I said, there's been some.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You
I
want?
just want to let you know we got an audience.
Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just want to give a shout out. Thank you. We got 12 viewers on right now, and big shout out to Onyx 45. He says great to see Mike in here. True
Hey.
modern day Renaissance man with an incredible heart for people.
Oh,
so yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to
Okay.
interrupt.
There we go.
Well, I
That's
put my
all right.
hand
No,
up,
that's-
by the
You
way.
know, I don't know who that is by the tagline, but awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's what we do this for, right? Is
That's cool. Yeah.
touching people. And so that moment
Yeah.
gave me the license to pursue anything I wanted.
It opened up the doors for you.
It did.
Okay.
And I vividly remember.
Interesting.
And with my dad working so much and everything else,
Yep.
like there's not a lot I remember about interactions with my dad.
Sure.
Other than a few things because he was at work and he came to our sporting events.
Yeah.
He provided well for us.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
just wasn't there
Yeah.
because he was at work. Like
Yeah,
he
yep,
did his job.
yep, yep,
and,
yep.
and he raised us and did the things. But that moment and from that moment I took that license of, dude, I'm gonna conquer the world.
Mm,
Come hell or high water.
mm,
I don't care. I can wreck, I can fall, I can bust my face.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get up and start again.
That's good. It's good. Yeah, my dad was an electrician for 40 some odd years before he passed away, and I remember when I was a kid, similar, him telling me he didn't want me to do what he did.
Okay.
And then there was this period of time in my brain where I equated guys who worked a blue collar trade as I never thought of them as less than. Like I recognized my dad provided well for us, but I remember thinking, oh, I don't want to end up like that. Because I remember my dad telling me, you don't want to end up like me.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then it was a couple of years into our marriage. I was working. So when my wife and I met, I was in Bible school and was pursuing pastoral ministry and missions. And like, I thought that's what I was going to do. And when we got married, I realized, oh, I have other responsibilities because I hadn't finished school yet. So I dropped out of school and started working in the trades, right?
Okay.
Working as a
Yeah.
carpenter, working as a millwright, doing a little bit of everything. And I remember one night I came home and my kids were on the floor, my first two. It might have been just my first one. I can't quite remember. And I looked at them playing on the floor and I looked at my hands filthy and dirty. And I looked at the house around us that I bought my first duplex and we were living in the place that I had paid for. And like, I had a sense of pride
Oh, dude.
that broke down that wall on the blue collar thing for me and just let me be like, okay, it doesn't matter as long as I'm doing this, right? They're cared for. They've got something safe. They've got a place to come home and to sleep, and I've got food on the table.
Yeah.
And so it broke down that that stigma that my brain had created after my dad said, you don't want to be like me.
So what did your dad mean when he said that?
I think, honestly, if I had to go back, this is putting words in my dad's mouth, but my dad died on February 17th, 2022. So just coming up this February will be 4 years. And it wrecked me when he died. It hit me harder than I thought it would. Is your dad still alive?
My dad is still alive.
Okay. So dude, it was a train wreck. It hit me hard. It just rocked my world because I love my dad and he loved me. And our relationship in the past 25 years had only gotten better. And so I think what he meant was my dad was one of those guys who would sacrifice what he wanted for what everybody else wanted. And I think what he meant by that, and this is me putting, again, words in his mouth, but
Yep.
what I think it was, I think he wanted me to not be afraid to go after the things that I dreamed about.
Okay.
And I think that was his way of trying to encourage me to chase dreams, to chase things that seemed impossible, to chase things that were hard. I do. I really do.
Okay.
Because as I became a man and had a family and was moving through life, you know, my dad was a man of few words, but I distinctly remember a couple of times him telling me he was proud of me about the things that I was doing, and it didn't matter what job I was in, right? Like, it wasn't like because I was a blue collar guy at that point and he was telling me he was proud of being blue collar. He was caring more about the way that I was parenting my kids and relating to my wife. And I think that's what he wanted from me, right?
I gotcha.
To chase those things and to do it in a good home with my wife and with my family.
Yeah, I mean, I've been finding the right spot to say this, but 25 years, man, that's wow.
You know what's funny? It's gone by so fast, but it surprises the crap out of me too. Like, my wife, and I can say this because I've said it to her. Like, I've said to her, like, I never thought after 25 years I would still like get a little goosebumps or like butterflies in my stomach when I think about her or when I see her, or like still find her as attractive, if not more so than the day that we met, and still chase after her that way. Like, it's it's an accomplishment for sure. And it's taken a lot of hard work, and it hasn't been easy, right? Like, I know what kind
never is.
No, I know what kind of man I am, and she knows better than anybody else what kind of man I am, and yet she's still chosen to try, and I've still chosen to try as hard as we can, and it's an accomplishment for sure. Yeah,
it is. Congratulate.
Thank
seriously,
you.
that's.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like you said, it's not an easy or a light thing. Marriage is.
No.
The way that I've described it to people is, I think it is probably one of the most powerful relationships in its effect to shape you. And it's one of the hardest and yet most beautiful things I've ever done.
Say that again.
Yeah, right. So I think it's.
I want to unpack that. For a second.
I think the marriage relationship has, if you're open, honest, and like I reveal myself to her, it has the potential to shape us powerfully in lots of ways. But I also think it can be one of the hardest and most beautiful things. Right? So hard in the sense that if I want my marriage to succeed, then that means I have to share myself with her, right? I have to be honest about the things that are good, about the things that are bad, about the things that are hard, and about the things that don't matter. And I also need to be willing to let her help by knocking some of those chips off the stone block. Right? Like Michelangelo, I think it was Michelangelo, said that when he would approach a stone block, he would see what was inside the block, and he was knocking those chunks off, right?
Yes,
like the Michelangelo.
Yes, that's him.
Right?
100%. That was, yes.
And I feel like marriage is similar, right? Like, my wife and I have both seen something in one another.
Ooh.
And the past 25 years, we've been kind of knocking chips off the stone block, like helping that person to come out.
You know, that's a great analogy when you think about the fact that we're the only ones who see our love the way that we do.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. It's I think when the Michelangelo thing was, the statue was always there.
Yeah,
that's right. I saw it all the time.
That's right.
So that's a really awesome way of looking at it. It's like, hey, that was love at first sight.
Right. And that's I think that is something powerful there, because it's a work in progress, right? Like, I think one of the things that has allowed Jenna and I to both continue to strive after one another for all these years is that, one, we both decided early on and openly committed that there's no deal breaker. You're stuck with me, right? Like, no matter what you do, you're stuck. And so you better figure that out.
My wife did that completely. I broke up with her. She left 3 days later. She just opened my door, came in my house, and climbed in bed. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I figured you were done. You're not getting rid of me. I was just giving you some space." And it was right about then that I realized that, hey, that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And for her, there was no big deal.
It's good. Just another day, right? Like, this is
it.
This is the choice that we've made, and this is what we're doing. And I recognize that there's so many circumstances that can come up in life and in marriages, and so I don't take it lightly, and I don't It's not a boastful thing for me at all, right? Like this has been work.
No, it absolutely, it's
Right?
a labor.
Yeah.
It truly is. You know,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of ex-wives behind me.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And you look back and you always can say shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yep.
But in the same circumstance, I am who I am today, and I am where I am today.
Yep.
Because of my past.
Because of the events. Yep.
So it is what it is.
Yep.
But I can honestly say that the relationship I'm in now has been pursued completely differently.
Yeah.
And that whole Michelangelo thing, you know, we have this documentary that we made last year.
Okay.
And there's a scene there where they had us recreate something I told her on day one.
Okay.
So like very early on in our relationship,
Yep.
I said to her, I don't understand how you are where you are in life.
Well.
I don't understand it with the way you were brought up, your smarts. I don't understand how you got where you are. And later on in the conversation, I looked at her, I says, you know, you're a flower planted in the wrong garden.
It's good. Yeah. Out of place.
Out of place.
Yeah.
Come 5 years later, we're at her pageant night. And granted, it's a little bit of a recreation for the filming, but it was a true statement. And it's me sitting there looking at her in the mirror, and I tell her, do you remember when I told you 5 years ago that you were a flower in the wrong garden? This is who I saw 5 years ago. And it goes back to that, the statue was always there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's inside. And
Yeah.
We can't explain it. We can't describe it.
No. Right? Yeah.
But we see it.
Yeah.
and it's a very unique perspective because nobody else can see
That's right.
what you see inside.
That's right. And there are those moments in a relationship, right, where you might get a glimpse, right? That something happens, or there's something that takes place, or you see a strength in the character emerge, or you see someone in a role. Like even most recently, thinking about watching Jenna as a grandmother. She doesn't want to be called grandma because we're only 46, right?
Okay.
So we're still pretty young to be grandparents. And so she's Nena. Her name is Jenna, so she goes Nena. But watching her be Nena to our grandson is so cool. And it like all of a sudden I'm like, I'm turned on by grandmas now, I guess, right? There's just something cool there, like watching the way that she loves on that little guy. Right, it's just something special, and those are those little moments where we glimpse that final statue, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
That's when you're breaking out the fine grit, you know.
Yeah,
You're getting
bro.
You're seeing that polish.
Yeah,
you know.
you're polishing the edges, right?
All
You're not
those-
using the
yeah.
hammer and the chisel anymore. It's
All
just
those
taking the
little
little.
details that nobody else is ever going to notice, but
That's right.
but you know every single one.
Yeah. That's right. And so, and you know, it's also, like I said, it can be incredibly challenging because, you know, especially as a man with my own faults, having to own those faults, right? To her, like, man, I wish I didn't parent this way sometimes. I wish I controlled my voice better. I wish I controlled my temper better. I wish I responded differently in this circumstance. Those are hard things, right? And
very difficult.
and her being able to say, nope, I still see what can be. I still see the statue. I still see that you're attempting. You haven't quit.
Yeah.
Right? You're not trying to sit and be that same guy and just say sorry for it. You're trying to change.
That's it. Because sorry doesn't mean nothing.
Right.
Without there being a purposeful change to whatever it is that led to sorry.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I have, with all of my kids,
Mm-hmm.
my kids, her kids, like this whole hodgepodge.
Yep.
One, I already said, I find it as part of my job to make their life hard.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that they don't get great things, but you have to show them how to overcome the hard when the fall doesn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And along with that, sometimes I forget that I'm also supposed to be loving and caring and
That's right.
I do. I forget.
Yep. You get those phone calls and like the first side acts up, right? And then, oh, wait. No. I want to be soft in this interaction. Yeah.
So I have taught myself that it's okay to apologize to them.
Yeah.
And as a father, that is a difficult spot.
Yeah.
And it's not because of my pride, But when there's this sorry moment,
Mm-hmm.
it changes that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always afraid of
Mm-hmm.
making yourself vulnerable. But I have found that some of the greatest growth
Mm-hmm.
in relationship with all the kids
Yep.
has come after the sorry.
Yeah. I think about scripture when it says that David was a man after God's own heart. And I think about some of the things that David did, right? Like, he was a pretty awesome king. He was a pretty awesome warrior
Warrior, yes.
who decided to sleep with one of his men's women and send him back into battle so he could die, so he could stay with her. Like, that's pretty screwed up.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
And yet he was still later on called a man after God's own heart. And I think a big part of David, and I'm certainly not getting into the theological side of everything, but I think a big part of what David was he was willing to admit when he was wrong and honestly repent.
Ooh, that's good.
Right? And go to the Lord and say, I screwed up. What do I need to do different?
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is. I mean, you think through relationship. That is a huge part of relationship, is being able to say, okay, yep,
This was me.
this is me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to try not to do it again. But how do we move past here into success?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a huge part of relationship.
It is. And, for me, I know like the past 10 years specifically, I've been working a lot doing inner healing work, doing prayer work and journaling and like just trying to sit before the Lord and like, okay, Lord, there's some things in me that I don't like. They're like, this happens and my first reaction is aggressiveness. Right? Like, as opposed to, oh no, I should stop and think about what caused this situation, whether it was my decision or someone else's. My first instinct is like, oh, I got to rise up and do something. When sometimes I should sit back. Sometimes it's my fault and I need to change exactly what I was doing and do something totally different. And sometimes I need to just say, I don't know what to do, and go after that. And so I have purposefully, tried to seek out good friends, to give them voice into my life, to say, hey, what do you think about this? I'm behaving this way in my relationship with my kids and I don't like it. It doesn't seem to produce the reaction that I'm hoping for. What could be different? And then just listen to what other people have to say and try it on for size, like a pair of clothes at the store, right? Like,
Yep.
oh, maybe that's true and that fits and I can wear that, right? Like that idea of being soft instead of angry or responding a different way.
It's the crazy thing about the mind. It can
is.
change.
It can.
And it does, whether we like it or not.
That's right.
So
And training it, right, to take some of those thoughts and those responses and not like, oh, I shouldn't respond that way.
right.
It doesn't dictate a life or death response because the milk jug fell out of the fridge and hit the floor, right? Like, why am I screaming?
That is the end of the world, brother.
Right? Why am I screaming and yelling about something that has zero impact on world hunger or world peace, right? And yet I'm like over here ready to draw blood because someone didn't put the milk back the right way. Like that's not a good response. I should
No.
probably change that, right? And yet at the same time, the other side of that is, and if we want to cast it into just a much bigger world, right? I should also respond when I see injustice in the world
Absolutely.
and respond appropriately.
And I think personally, like I've actually had this conversation with Aaron, my other half, Aaron, quite regularly. The word that was trying to come out wasn't coming, but quite regularly.
Gotcha.
Is I think that, especially in Western society, as men, we are taught to be so proper and so respectful, and in all respects, we're taught to wear skirts.
I think there's certainly some of that. I also think that for a long time, we've downplayed the value of emotion, right? And so men are supposed to be stoic and not respond as well emotionally, or just have one emotion, anger.
100%.
Right?
I don't disagree with you on that. And the two together
Yep.
is I'm supposed to have an emotional response to outside forces, especially evil forces.
Yeah.
And because I'm raised that I'm not supposed to, it ends up internalizing and comes out in places where I know I can let it out. And it's the family that suffers because of it.
Where it's more acceptable.
Yes.
Yeah. or it's viewed as more
it-
acceptable, right? Air quotes.
Big air quotes there
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not. It's
Nope.
actually most damaging in that circumstance.
Absolutely. And amongst those relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm a firm believer in I speak my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I am not afraid of hurting someone's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I have to be an asshole.
That's right. That's right.
I am at times.
Yep.
But not for the purpose of it.
Right.
It just so happens.
Yeah.
And even when I am telling somebody a cold, hard truth that they may not want to hear,
Yep.
or that may be antecedent to their own beliefs,
Yep.
you can still say it in love.
And so here's, two things that jump out at me when you say that. My older two kids are both married, and I had moments with each of them before the wedding ceremonies where I sat down with them and I said something to the effect of, I want you to know how proud I am of you, how much I love you, and how much of the crap that's come out over the years or been directed at you, and it's all my crap. I don't want you to think it's ever anything that you've done wrong. There are decisions that you've made along the way or whatever, but most of the time when I was responding to you, I was responding because of my own stuff,
Ooh, that's good.
right? Not
Yeah.
because of yours. And so I want you to know that I love you, I'm proud of you, and you are starting your own life now, right? You're starting a life with this other person, and I don't want you to do those same things that I did, right? So spend the time, work on yourself, seek out those weaknesses, and attack them.
I think that's the hardest thing for us to do as people, and I want my kids to do it too. And
Yeah.
is that self-reflection
Mm-hmm.
of being willing to look in on yourself and find the thing that is just disgusting,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have it.
Yep.
Some of us a lot more than others,
For sure.
and I've had my fair share.
For sure. Yep.
but-
I'm speaking to myself here.
But
Yep.
that's it. But over time, I look at who I was when I was 18.
Yeah.
When I moved out of the house, there's 9 kids. I have an older sister who's 10 years older,
Okay.
and she moved out of the house when I was 6 or 7.
Wow.
So I was the oldest in the house, all growing up with all my 7 younger brothers and sisters.
Yep. Effectively an oldest child. Based on birth order, with that big a gap, you were an oldest child.
Correct.
Yep.
A firstborn, personality-wise,
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
So when I was 19 and moved out of the house, my 7 younger brothers and sisters stood at the doorway and clapped and cheered because the ogre was leaving.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a point in my life where I was like, dude, I can't be this person.
Wow.
And I mean, it wasn't an instantaneous change,
Yeah.
but it was something like it stuck in me that moment
Wow.
that I couldn't be that person.
Wow.
And as I blew up on my kids at times,
Yeah.
but over the years, I have become so much of a calmer person,
Mm.
more outspoken in my feelings,
Mhm.
ideas, thought processes,
Mm-hmm.
but much calmer, well-spoken,
Sure.
thought out processes.
Sure.
And I thoroughly like who I am now. Like
Mhm.
less raw,
Yeah.
but much more effective.
It's good.
And so I try to tell my kids, all the time, don't be afraid to look in, to find those things, to figure out the places where you need to grow, where you need to change, what you need to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That emotional IQ is a real thing,
Yeah.
right? Like having the emotional IQ to be able to stop and recognize, oh, I don't have it all figured out. This isn't the way that normal people respond in these moments, and it's probably not a healthy way, right? Those things are important and hard too, right? Like even I think just a couple weeks ago there was a situation. My wife asked me, "So how do you feel about this?" I'm like, I don't know. like she wanted to know what my emotion was in response to what she was saying, and it was one of those that it took a couple of days. Because she asked my opinion on something, and then I said, "Well, I feel like I don't think I have a problem with it, but there's something that's like here that I don't have a word for." Right? Like I could feel like there was an emotion, but I couldn't describe it. And so it took me 2 days and like sitting on it and talking through it a little bit more with her and exploring even just my own head. And before I was able to come back and just be like, no, I think the way that I'm feeling about this is a me problem. It's not in relation to the question you're asking. So do it. Right. Like it
that is some emotional intelligence right there.
and I still don't know if it's right. Right. I think it is, but it's one of those things where you like, if we don't take the time to sit in some of those emotions and feel them a little bit, then we're just going to respond the same way we always have, as opposed to stopping, actually thinking about it, exploring it, saying, okay, is there something real here, right? Because as men, I think that there's that natural protective instinct. And so sometimes we have a protective instinct. We also have envy and greed and all of these other things that rear up. And sometimes that's the emotion. Because as men, the most easy emotion to express, and I think we said this already, is anger, right? But anger's a secondary emotion. It's not a primary emotion.
Nope.
Anger is always in response to
Always.
something else. And so if I'm feeling that start to rise up, then okay, stop. Is it really anger? Or is it I'm upset because I didn't respond well in a situation and now the only way I can respond is to be angry about it? Or is it something else?
Yeah. Is it shame?
Yeah.
Is it rejection?
Yeah.
Is it
Is it fear?
There's a lot of different things
Yeah.
that hide as anger.
That's right. They manifest. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, I was very purposeful in this relationship that I was not going to repeat.
Yeah, that's good.
Right? Things from my past. So a lot of the things that I have to say, if either one of my ex-wives are on here listening, they're going to call me a liar and throw it in my face.
Right.
But to them, hey, I'm sorry.
That was
These
true
are
for their
things-
experience.
It was true for their experience,
Yeah.
but these are things I've learned.
Yeah.
And one of the tools that we use in our relationship is if things start to escalate. Now, I will tell you, we don't fight.
Okay.
And it's not because we don't disagree. We disagree vehemently on many, many things.
Sure.
But we set some structure in our back and forth relationship that prevents us from fighting.
Yeah.
Right? Because both of my first marriages, I fought tooth and nail, through and through, hated them by the time it was over, gotten over that, thank God, but it was bad.
Yeah.
And so when something starts to creep up, and from the receiving party, when it is beyond. Meaning, I hurt your finger and you're screaming like I chopped your arm off. The response does not match the action.
Yeah.
And so when we get to that escalated response that doesn't match, we both have permission and authority to look at each other and say, are you responding to me or are you responding to an ex?
It's good. It's good. And in that situation, I think that's absolutely appropriate, right?
And it's a simple question.
Yeah.
It's not accusatory.
Yeah.
If you tell me you're responding to me,
Yeah.
then I really got to go, okay, wow, I did something, whether I realized it or not, a lot worse than I thought I did.
Yeah. At least in their perception.
Yep.
Yep.
Or they go, okay, you're right. And that's our walk away moment. Just walk away. We'll come back and revisit it when the time is right. But that hurt,
Yeah.
because that's what brought it to my attention. Is,
Yeah.
Thinking about this is, it's fear, it's anger,
Yeah.
and those things drive that exaggerated
Yep.
response.
Visceral. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And most of the time, it has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
Yep. Yep. And so in relation to that, I also think that those same types of things, that's what we see when we see people in all sorts of addiction. And I know you have close ties to the recovery community, and I see it in drug addiction. I see it in food addiction. I see it in control. I see it in all sorts of areas, right? Where that visceral response, and the only thing we know how to do is to medicate it. Right? And so if we can't stop and explore what's actually going on and have a back and forth dialogue or stop and sit in those emotions, then we just become slave to them. And we respond the same way that we always have. Well, I've always medicated with alcohol. All right, then I feel this way, so I'm just going to drink again. Or until we stop and examine those moments and actually start to try and bring some healing to them, right? To resolve what it was at the root of that issue.
Change that circle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then we keep feeling that same way, and we keep responding that same way.
Yep. It is a brutal reality of life.
Yeah.
hence why we made a very conscious decision.
Yeah.
We almost went into it like a business transaction. It was, here are the things that I laid out every bit of dirty laundry.
There you go.
From the start.
There you go.
Here's everything you're going to have to deal with.
Yep.
Here's the things I'm willing to change on. Here's the things I'm absolutely not willing to change on. And if we move forward,
is there a deal breaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
if we move forward, you don't get to come at me 3 years later and say, but I don't like it, because it has existed from day one as a known factor that's going to continue. Yeah. And it really just made it a structure that didn't take the emotion out of it, but it put a rule set in it.
Yeah. Framework for how to deal with it. Yeah.
And it's been just tremendously successful to have that, to use your word, framework around how the relationship should operate to be successful.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we have tried to continue to build in our marriage. And the times that I've had the opportunity to speak with young couples as they're getting ready to be married or newly married, and being able to share some of those same types of things, like, hey, you guys, like, you're going to fight. You're going to have disagreements. And there was a guy years ago, and I can't remember if it was a book or a podcast or whatever, and he talked about fighting fair, right? And he talked about establishing some of those ground rules for the ways that you're going to engage with your significant other, right?
Yep.
And those rules look different for every people. The ways that you do those things look different, right? Like, some people are okay with yelling back and forth, and like, that's just the way they express emotion. I grew up in a neighborhood with lots of Italian people, and you know, sometimes arguments would get rather vocal and seem like it was the end of the world. And yet those same two people were hugging at the end of the night, or kissing, or sitting next to one another afterwards, and like, oh, they're totally cool with that. That's not cool in my house, right? Like, I get loud. My wife does not like that at all. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I've had to learn how to do some of those things, how to fight fair, how to fight well, disagree, argue, whatever you want to call it, have those discussions to be beneficial for her and I.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's very important. You know, speaking of being beneficial for both.
Yeah.
I hate using this word.
You're good.
But
You're good. It's good, bro.
I hate it for my own self.
Okay.
But as a Christian.
Yeah.
Do you believe that there's an appointed one for you? Do you believe that it's more of a choice?
Okay.
Tough question.
Okay.
But
yep. Go ahead.
These are the conversations that are unique.
Yeah, for sure. So when I went to Bible college, freshman year, first semester, one of the classes that they make everybody take is something, I can't remember if it was called like Christian experience or spiritual formation or something like that. And the book that was the text for the class, at least part of the class, was called Decision Making and the Will of God.
Okay.
All right. And he paints a picture of a target, picture an archery target, big, lots of rings. And on the archery target, so basically, if it's okay within Scripture, it's on the target.
Okay.
Right? So, like, as long as it's not permitted or not excluded by Scripture, then the target are the bounds. And it doesn't really matter where you hit the target, as long as you're on the target, was his thing. Right? So he, and through that conversation, the instructor, the way he presented the material, I watched people. And I took a year off. I took a gap year in between high school and going to college, and I worked for a year, and so I was a little bit older. And that 1 year makes a big difference in college age students.
Yes, it does.
And I watched some of these people like crumble because they were having these thoughts. Does that mean God doesn't have a specific plan for my life? Does that mean God doesn't care about the decisions that I make? Does that mean God doesn't care about the person I'm going to marry or any of those things that I'm thinking about right now, right? And here's where I've landed on the whole thing.
Okay.
I think that the Lord already knows where we're going to land, right?
Okay.
He exists outside of time, right? Like, if we think of the person of God, then he is eternal, right? Omnipresent, omniscient, and all-powerful, right? Omnipotent. And so those are the three characteristics that I would ascribe to God. And so he already knows the decisions that I'm going to make, but he gives me free will to make those decisions. And so do I think that there's one person that's appointed for us? I think there's one person that the Lord knows that we're going to end up with. And he also knows the journey along the way. So
I know. I opened
you're
a
good.
can.
You're good. It is Pandora's box when you start talking about.
I mean, is the cat in the box?
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, Schrodinger, right? Yeah,
I mean,
right.
There's so many answers to the one question, and we're hardwired to try and find one.
Right.
And that's our problem. Is we need to have an absolute. This is the way it is, 100%. Now I can move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
When that's not the way the universe works.
Yeah.
I mean, you ask any physicist that, and they're going to tell you no. You know, there's about umpteen thousand different ways of looking at string theory.
Possibilities and where it could land and all those things. And so I think God knows what's going to happen.
Okay.
And so he's preparing us all along for what that end destination is going to be.
Okay.
And so it sounds like a bit of a cop-out. I will say that I do think that there are moments that are moments, and in the Hebrew Bible, they use two words for time. They use the word chronos, which means chronological, right? Has the linear aspect to it. But then there's another word that's used in Scripture called kairos. And kairos are when, like, if you're picturing that chronological timeline, when God puts his finger on that timeline and you encounter the finger of God in that moment, right? That's a kairos moment, right? There's a God moment there. And so I think that along our chronos, there are all these God moments where we're experiencing that little touch of heaven, right? Even if it's like, going even deeper in the analogy, you know, the little soap bubbles in the sink and you can push on the outside of them, right? Like those are those soap bubble moments where God's pushing on that little bubble and it's influencing, or we're experiencing him in a deeper fashion and way in that moment. And so I think those moments are appointed and we can't change those.
Like the footprints in the sand.
Yeah.
You know, this. Yeah, okay.
And I think those moments are there, and I think those are predestined from the beginning of time because God's always been present in those moments beforehand.
Okay.
So, do I think that there is one appointed person, or do I think that it's totally free will? I think that it's probably a combination of both. I don't think it's an either.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And that might be a cop out, and you can call me on it and push back, and I'd love to hear it.
I don't see it as a cop out.
Okay.
I think that I look at time and the relation of God to time differently than I think it's been taught biblically.
Okay.
And I ask that because there's more to that question than just the simple, is there one person?
Right.
The expanding of that question is, okay, if there's not one person, if it's not set by God, then are there those who are called to be pastors? Are there those who are called to be prophets? Are there those who are called to be apostles?
Yep.
Or is everything on the target permissible? And I'm not necessarily called to be a pastor.
Right.
I may have the implication to be a pastor, but if I choose to go swing a hammer for the rest of my life, it's okay. There's no worry, no harm, no foul.
Yep, I agree.
Or did you miss the calling of God and you were supposed to be a pastor, and now your life has challenges in order to drive you back towards the path that God had predestined for you, and you chose to go otherwise. And I think that there's a balance between the two, but I'm painting a picture because part of my understanding of how God interacts with time is while he has seen time from the beginning to the end, he knows all, sees all, and is omnipotent. I do believe that time has a certain confining bounding to it due to it having a rule of its own creation.
Okay. What do you mean by rule of its own creation? Describe that a little bit further.
Meaning, when God created time, it did not prior exist. And time, that chronos, is end on end, day to day, the morning and the night, or the night or the day, the night and the day, right? So creation, while he is outside of time and can see the beginning to the end, the end has not happened yet because it is within the confines of time, which is the created substructure.
Okay.
So therefore, even though he can see it from above, because it hasn't happened yet, he hasn't experienced it yet.
See, so that's where I would disagree, because there is, I believe, the three components. So omniscience, all knowing.
Yep.
Omnipotent, all powerful.
Yep.
And omnipresent.
Correct.
So I think he's already existed in that time.
Okay.
Right. And does exist in that time as well as past and present.
So that's where for me.
Yeah. No, it's
brain,
good. It's good.
And I know we're getting way deep here,
It's good.
but
It's good.
I like these conversations
Sure.
because I like to challenge my thought process.
For sure.
And maybe I put it away and go study it another day and find something different.
Right.
If omnipresent, which I fully believe in omnipresent.
Okay.
I believe it's omnipresent in this moment within the confines of time.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Outside of the confines of time, he's omnipresent in all time.
Okay.
Because he is the beginning and the end.
Yep.
He's the before. He's the after. He's the always has been.
Yep. Okay.
There is nothing without him.
Okay.
So it's not to remove anything
Yeah.
from him.
No. Sure.
It is the fact of he created this experiment that didn't exist before. Time is a new construct. And while he knew that his creation would betray him in the garden, while he knew that the Adam would choose his helpmeet, consciously choose to abandon God in order to be with the woman, which has been repeated throughout all of history. Solomon writes about
lots of things that we choose outside of him. Yep.
And you know, Eve was the beguiled one. Adam consciously chose to follow with Eve and tie his fortune with her over God.
Sure.
So there's a pain that he experiences in that moment. It talks about it in the Bible, that impact. When it gets to Adam or Noah, and he is how does it write that I am I'm losing the word.
Okay.
Regretful.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm saying the right word.
No, it's oh gosh, I'm not going to remember that either off the top of my head, and we don't need to go looking for it. But it's basically it sounds like the way that the translation reads. It sounds like that he has regret at creation.
Yes.
Correct.
So and there's a difference of knowing you're going to be a grandpa.
Yeah.
And the feeling of being a grandpa the first time you walk in the hospital room.
Okay.
I believe that time is similar to that with God.
Okay.
Because if we're already at the end, then there is no free will.
Okay.
All you are is a little lemming following the pretext of free will.
Yep.
But if it's already happened, it's already there and it's already done.
Yep.
And if that's the case, how does God change his mind?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I think that there is a unique interaction God has with time. And it's not to remove power from him, but actually to add power to him of he is following the rule of his own creation in order to experience. Mm. Did he have to send Jesus to die on the cross for the redemption of sins? No. Mm-hmm. He could have broken every rule he wrote and did whatever he wanted to do to redeem us.
Right.
But he wrote a set of rules.
Yep.
And because he is such a good God, he himself lived within those rules.
Yep.
And so therefore he sent Jesus, God the Son, to live amongst man.
As man.
With the challenges, troubles, tribulations of man, to die as a man in the most brutal manner, in order to resurrect, to preserve the rules of the experiment. Mm-hmm. If he had to go through all of that to preserve those rules, then there's more of those rules that he's bound by than we would naturally assume.
Okay.
And with that, I think time is part of that, because I don't think that while he sees it, you know, and I know I'm oversimplifying.
No. Okay.
But
go ahead.
you look at a parade. Mm-hmm. We've all seen the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Sure.
And we get two camera angles. One camera angle is from the top of the high rise.
Yep.
And at that angle, you can see the start of the parade.
Yep.
You can see the end of the parade.
Right.
You can see every float. You can see the whole thing.
Sure.
Right? When do you really experience it?
When you're on the street, right?
When you're in that camera angle right there, and the only thing you're experiencing is what's passing in front of the grandstand
Sure.
at this moment in time.
Sure.
And I think God experiences the story of humanity
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect. He sees the beginning from the end.
Yep. Yep.
But I don't think he experiences the emotion. And people will think I'm crazy for saying this.
I think the perspective is flipped. I think it's not that he's experiencing it, but we're experiencing him in that moment.
Okay.
So, but go ahead.
And so with that, leaves the option of free will.
Yeah.
And the option of potential endings.
Yeah. So, you okay if I push on it a little bit?
Push on it. That's
Okay.
what we're here. Absolutely.
So what if that mindset is a coping mechanism to not feel like you've made mistakes? And allow me to paint it. Allow me to paint it out and unpack it a little bit.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that I think is the ultimate question at the end of the day.
It's a nice machine gun.
Okay, I wasn't sure if someone was knocking, wanting to come in and join the conversation. So what I think the ultimate question for each of us at the end of the day is, who are we? I think it comes down to an identity question, because everything we do is going to either pursue a specific identity, right? Like, I'm a physician assistant, I'm a PA. So everything I pursue as a PA is going to drive that identity even deeper. Or am I Mike, the beloved son of God, who he calls his son, and he has set works that I, as his son, get to experience alongside with him. And if I am standing in the identity of who he made me to be, then I don't have, and I'm operating and responding in the moment out of that identity of who he created me to be as his son, then I don't have anything else to worry about, right? Like, I'm not worried about the outcome of the result if I can stand in the moment and say, okay, Lord, who did you make me to be in this moment, in this decision? And how is that person supposed to interact with the world? And so there's this guy that I've been reading some of his stuff and listening to some of his talks, and he talks about the idea of doing flowing out of being. And so everything we do should flow out of who we are. And if that isn't settled, the identity of who we are isn't settled, then everything we do is going to be in question.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it comes more from a place of understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Of wanting to think about how does God, right?
Yeah.
The omnipresent,
Yeah.
omnipotent,
Yeah.
and omniscient.
Yeah.
How does he get to a point where he says, I repent I ever created? And that's the word, is repent.
Is it repent?
It
Okay.
is.
Okay.
It finally came to me.
Yeah, and so in that situation, there are plenty of people who would argue this and all that, but do you know about the Nephilim and right? And so
I mean, I'm a tinfoil hat wearing everything.
Right. And so the whole
breaking out the Book of Enoch.
That's right. That's exactly right. The idea that there were angels that had relations
100%.
with women on earth,
Yep.
and there were a species of god men, right? Which is honestly part of where I think we get our Greek and Roman gods from, right?
I have another theory about that that I will unpack with you here in a
these
second.
big, huge men that were the product of in between that relationship.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a great spot, but there's only I have one minor caveat of issue with that, but that's one of my favorite subjects.
Okay.
I've heard this one. It's
Here we go.
When it gets to the gods, that's one of my favorites.
Actually,
It's
we reached the hour mark. Do we want to take a break real quick
I
and
could
come
actually
back?
use a cup of coffee. It's a good spot to
Okay.
Good
take
spot
this
to stop.
break.
So y'all stick around. We're going to be back here very shortly, and we'll kick off the conversation a bit more with Mike.
Excellent.
Awesome. Way to snag that break there.
I was wondering if we get a pee break in there.
We do.
Good.
We have. You got to.
It's tough, man. I watch some of these guys go for 2 hours, and I'm like, I'd have to pee at least twice in that conversation.
They break too.
Yep.
They just don't show it.
That's right.
You see Joe Rogan's podcast, and they're talking about stuff that's like fresh within the last 24 hours. But he also has an entire production team that is already producing it
That's right.
as it's being recorded.
That's right.
And cutting stuff out and everything.
Yep.
So.
And in the past 2 years, I have noticed he's been much more open. Like, oh yeah, let's take a bathroom break.
Yeah.
Like the first
But then
15
all of a sudden,
years.
boom, they're sitting back there again, and
That's
it's
right.
like the camera angle just changed, and
That's
that's hiding a cut in a.
Yep, in
camera
a
shot.
in a scene.
And you look great.
Okay.
You can't get it on me tonight.
You're not
No,
making
it's
it, huh?
it's the it.
Will
I'm getting
this
a-
help?
I'm getting a bar going across.
Will this help?
It's this. I got to figure out a different way to put the light to where.
Okay.
Yeah. Which
Oh,
actually is probably best is going to be right in front of the camera if it'll reach.
Do you want me to move it a
No,
little?
no, no, no.
Okay.
The cameras are perfect.
Okay.
It's
He's
just
just trying to get.
it's me being me.
Get it lit. Get it lit.
Eventually, what we're going to have is mounted cameras.
Yeah.
That would
Overhead
be-
lighting.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the new cameras. If we get the ones that we're talking about, we can set them anywhere we want in the room, and they just say find your face
Yeah.
and lock on. So even if you're moving around in your chair, it won't matter.
Yeah, we're working on it. We need about
We'll get there.
$3,500.
Yeah, it's expensive,
Video
dude.
equipment.
That stuff just blows my mind how expensive it is.
That studio we're sitting in right now, I'm $120,000 in this studio.
I believe it.
Do we still got watchers?
Yep. You got 3 stayed on, 17 total.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, little by little, man. That's that for a second live, dude. That's actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like JP was telling me, even with pro streamers and stuff on his stuff, he wasn't getting at past 10 viewers for like the first 6 months that he was streaming. So
Yeah.
we got a built-in audience, and it'll work out great.
That's awesome. Perfect spot to snag a break, though. That was perfect breakaway.
I don't know if the music's playing though.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's because it's so low. We're good. All right. Nope. The viewers we have, we'll know if they comment. Yep. And me. But that's us. Oh, okay.
Is that Josh? Yeah.
That's Pastor Josh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's see what I got. Looks like. See, that already looks better just from moving like that a little bit.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So my background is not broadcast. My background is sound.
Okay.
So the problem is that
Okay.
podcasts, they're very clear, bright light, you know, pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking everything down,
Sure.
yellow light.
Yeah. You want to create some emotion through it? Yeah.
The first couple ones that we did was really dark because so we're going brighter this time, having something behind it makes it a little better because for the first one that we did,
Gotcha.
But we can do. Put that back down there. Back down. I think that'd still be good if I'm sitting here. I get rid of most of that. Yeah, test one, test two.
How's that? Okay.
Does that help? Okay.
it's a little echoey. Yep, just a little bit.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. And I'd much rather have the audio. The video is what it is. We'll figure out a better angle. What I'll do is I'm going to get a couple more of these, put them on the wish list of the low pros that come up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Or we'll take these apart and switch them.
Okay.
We'll get there.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Going live. And we're back.
All right.
So the Nephilim, Book of Enoch.
Yep.
So the
hang on one second.
Go for it. Go.
I want you to unpack that, but I was
Go.
going to add one more piece to the
Yep.
thought plate, because here's the deal. I can tell right now.
Yep.
You're gonna have to come back and do this again with me sometime. So,
that sounds good. That sounds good.
I want to throw this on the thought plate.
Okay.
Of the linear time and the experience of God interacting with time.
Yep.
Is Jesus God incarnate in the flesh?
Okay.
There from the beginning to the end.
I believe.
Is he?
I believe.
Okay, I do
Yep.
too.
Yep.
He was there at creation.
Yep.
He was there at everything.
Yep. I believe that's what it says in Scripture. Yep.
100
Yep.
God. Jesus is God.
Yep.
Okay, so if he's God,
Yep.
he's been through it all. He's seen it all. He knows it all.
Yep.
How does he get to a place where he prays so vehemently that he bleeds of, if there be another way, take this from me? How does he get to a place where he says, and I'm going to butcher the word, so I ain't even going to say it, but my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Yeah.
That was a feeling of brokenness, that it wasn't planned. It wasn't a part of, even if he knew from beforehand that he was going to say it, the emotion that came with it, that was a real experience that couldn't have been a pre-knowledge
Yeah.
to have that interaction.
Yeah.
And that's the place where I actually get my thought process of how God experiences time is Jesus' experience with the last 72 hours
Okay.
and his response to it.
Okay.
So I just want to throw that on the plate to think about.
No. I've got it. I'm right there with you.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I think that so many times we, as humans, as followers of Jesus, as whatever title you want to put on yourself, as someone who believes in the words of the Bible and tries to impact those, put those words into our life in an impactful way. I think we look at Jesus as a solution and not a paradigm. And so here's what I mean by that.
I want to hear this.
Jesus, what I believe is when Mary was conceived by the Holy Spirit, when the embryo was fertilized, right, by that God seed that caused the baby to grow within the Virgin Mother, right, which I believe is true, because he was fully God, and yet in that moment, he became fully man.
100%.
And he had to live fully as a man. And so what Jesus shows us through his life and his walking around this world is how each of us could live as a man fully committed to walking with the Father.
Oh, 100%.
And so that's why I think when he was crying out in the garden and the other way, take this from me. We know physiologically that extreme duress and stress can cause someone to sweat blood, to bleed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
It's a medical.
Correct. It's a phenomenon that we can describe physiologically, anatomically. And so what I think that was a man, Jesus, a man in those depths, knowing what he had to walk through and knowing what was coming, and him saying, Lord, if there's any other way that we can achieve this, then take this cup, right? Like, give me the other solution.
Yes.
And so that's why I think, and even more so, Jesus as a paradigm, he modeled the way that we could live, right? So we could live in that way that he lived, fully dependent upon the Father, that we could experience him daily, that we could walk with him and talk with him, right? Like Jesus says, he didn't do anything but what he saw the Father doing. He didn't speak anything but what he heard the Father speaking. And I think that's paradigm that we can all model, right? We don't need to say, well, this is what Jesus did, and so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the exact same thing. No, he was modeling how a man can live fully dependent upon the Spirit and in relation with the Father.
100%.
And so as a man, he was fully experiencing those moments. And I've heard the, my God, why have you forsaken me? I've heard that passage interpreted. I can't even tell you how many sermons I've heard on that. And I've heard everything from, that was the only time that Christ didn't experience the Father, right? That he was completely separated and out of relationship, and that God had to turn his back on him so his wrath could be poured out.
Yep,
I've heard that. And I don't know that I agree with that.
I don't either.
Right?
Nope.
The one that seems to stick and resonate the strongest with me is that's actually a reference to an Old Testament passage.
And I do believe it is a reference to an Old Testament passage. And,
Yeah.
and out of an abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
Yeah.
And we know that he spent his entire life
Right.
putting that in.
Right.
And so it would make sense that would come, what would come out at that moment. But I still think that even though he was a man,
Yeah.
holy man, and
Yep.
then experienced it in a relational aspect that we can relate to,
Yep.
he was holy God at the same moment.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was ever not holy God.
Mm-hmm.
And so being holy God, he had to know the beginning from the end.
Yep.
And for me, it's that moment where he knew,
Mm-hmm.
he foresaw,
Mm-hmm.
but when he got in that moment and experienced,
Mm-hmm.
that's that interaction with time, because it's a constraint that he built
Yep.
for the time here on earth.
Yep.
Time.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Yep. I got you.
Is when he got to that moment, he experienced it in an aspect
Mm-hmm.
that he had yet to experience.
That's good. Okay. That's good.
And that's where that interaction with time comes, because
Yep.
he created man for a love relationship.
Yep.
That was the purpose of man's creation, was a love relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for a love relationship to have value, you must have choice.
Absolutely.
Without choice, love is valueless.
Yeah. You become automatons.
That's it.
Yep.
And so he created man for love, knowing that love would be betrayed,
Mm-hmm.
but not knowing what that betrayal felt like.
That's good. That's good. And I don't have a good response for that. I agree. I think that maybe that is when he experienced that humanness in a depth that he hadn't before.
And I think when he created this realm, I think he's processing the feeling of it in the same time we are. It's not to remove any of the omniscient and omnipotent and everything else that God is there. God is before and after, and he is everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave something special for his relationship with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that was within the confines of time, an experience that we get to live with him, through him, and a part of him.
It's good. It's good. It's good. I don't think I have an issue with that. But I also, here's the other side of things, and I'll throw a complete curveball on this. There are plenty of people who read the scripture and say that we live in a world that's 6,000 years old, right? The whole new earth, old earth argument when it comes to creation. And so I'm kind of taking it on a little bit of a slant.
I had a guy tell me one time something that just kind of stopped that in the tracks for me, and it's, how do you say how long a day is for someone who's omnipotent?
That's it. Yeah, right. That whole and there's a passage in scripture that says, a day is like 1,000 years, 1,000 years is like a day, right? Like there's no relation to.
We are the ones who created that measure,
Right.
Right. So
Right.
that we could try and grasp something. of
And
this
so,
universe.
go ahead, 'cause I'm going to add on to this.
But here's my thing. For me personally, the experience that I have had with Christ in my own life, and as I've walked out what it looks like to try and follow him and to be in a real relationship with this person that I've never seen and never touched, right? Because that's what I view my walk in following Christ as, is a relationship, right? Is that if he created the earth in 7 24-hour periods, awesome. If he created the earth in 100 million years and we ended up on an old earth and awesome, right? Like neither one of those things negates to me the magnificence and the power
Nope.
of a divine being creating this round thing or flat thing, whatever you believe.
Yep, 100%.
and that we're
Okay.
walking around on today.
Oh, don't negate that whole flat Earth thing, okay? don't throw it out with baby with the bathwater.
And so for that whole idea of, man, I don't know that I fully understand that moment right on the cross when Christ experienced that, but in relation to him experiencing time with us like that, I'm gonna have to think on that. I don't know what my response is to that yet.
Okay.
I don't. I'm gonna have to think about that.
It's a challenging thought
It's good.
process.
It's good. No.
And a lot of times when I bring up some of my things that I think about, people think I'm trying to challenge the norm
Right.
or
Right.
undercut something.
Right.
And for me, I am seeking to understand God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I seek to understand God, and there are other things that I can tell you that I have put in work and studied, and I've gone through scriptures, and I've gone to back to the Greek and back.
Yeah.
I don't agree with some of the things taught in church, and it's not because it's a challenge or a negative or anything else. It's because I seek to understand the heart of God.
Yeah.
And the heart of God in my relationship,
Experience.
things just don't feel right.
Mm.
They don't feel like it's... I mean, why do we have a Bible with 66 books?
Right. Right.
And it's not because King James said so, because when King James Commission put out the Bible, it had 83 books in it.
Right. When you look at and I think, and here's the thing, like it's, at some point though, I feel like, okay, this is the tool we have. This is the tool I'm going to use. Right. Like, and it doesn't negate enough for me if there's things that I feel like that could be included that weren't, or any of those things. At some point I have to think, okay, maybe the Lord did something with the way that he created that. Maybe it was man. I don't know. Right. Like,
But, okay, so here's where my challenge comes in, though. Is I'm all about there's books that shouldn't be in the Bible.
right.
But we stand on this 1611 King
Yeah.
James Version. That commission came out. That's what we kind of follow, and everything's been recreated from there.
Well, I think it goes back further than that. I think that there was
There's the Geneva Bible.
it's
that
the
comes
Geneva
before that.
Bible, and then there was another. So the Vulgate is what you're talking about, right? Because that was the King James, the Latin Vulgate that came. I don't have enough of this historical, but I do think that there was another collected group of the writings that more closely resemble what we use today.
There's been a number of different ones, and,
Okay.
and I know we're rabbit trailing, but I like
yeah.
these conversations just because it spurs thought, and that for me is more important than anything, is to
For sure.
spur the thought.
Yeah. And
Is King James Version Bible comes out, it has 1st and 2nd Maccabees, it has Tobit, it has
Right.
Esther,
Right.
it has the editions of Esther, it has Bel and the Dragon.
right.
There is a number of books that in the 1611 King James Version Bible
Yeah.
existed, and they existed for 300 years.
Right.
Then Zondervan Printing Press in 1898, if I'm not mistaken, just said, we're no longer going to print this block of books and pull them out.
Yeah.
So if we stand on King James Version, 1611,
Yeah.
AV, commissioned by God,
Yeah.
then you also must say, bring in those other books.
Hmm.
And there are reasons that specific of those other books are excluded, especially in Western theology right now,
Okay.
which is why I bring it up. There's
Okay.
a lot of theology that, with the entire King James Version Bible,
Okay.
the theology that we teach and believe doesn't always stand firm. Now, here's what does, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Go for it.
is God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
forgiveness by grace through faith, and not of works, lest any man should boast.
Yeah.
The core values
Yeah.
and the core principles
Yeah.
are solid
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
So it is not a matter of
Yeah.
losing my faith.
No, and that's the thing that becomes so tough. And so for me, while the academic exercise of understanding and exploring those things is important, I personally, and here's the thing, I don't consider myself a very smart person, and so I like to keep things simple.
Okay.
And so
okay. So then we don't need to go there, because
And I can.
I like the deep things.
I can, and like if we can talk about something, I just don't have a great frame of reference, because I've always just kind of focused on like, okay, Lord, I need to deal with my relationship with you, and like some of those deep theological things that don't impact that salvation, then yes. I don't need to go there. Not saying that I don't want to or that I'm not willing to, but I would need to spend more time preparing that.
Yeah. And so for me, and I will end this part of the conversation with that because it's the reason that I like the deep theological conversation is Jesus is my best friend.
Yeah.
I talk to him daily. I talk to him as if he's sitting right next to me, and I don't hear a voice talking back. I'm not crazy. He is my best friend. And part of having a best friend is you want to understand that best friend. You want to know that best friend as much as possible.
Sure.
And so some of these deeper things that I like to study, get into, find out about, understand, is not to challenge anything. It's not because it affects my salvation. It's not, but it's because I desire to know him more.
Yeah, no. And I fully respect that. And I think that is, I think that's a valid pursuit.
Yeah,
I do.
That's the reason. I just want to.
And I think that's an important pursuit as well, right? To have that deeper knowledge and understanding. And I also think that there are plenty of people who that's the way that their brain works, right? And for them, like, they're not going to be able, or they're not going to want to just say, no, I'm good. I don't need to know that.
Yeah, no, I'm not that person. If it's knowable, I'm a seeker of knowledge. I want to find it out.
Sure.
But it doesn't affect. I have a faith that is unshakable.
Yeah.
And they're two totally different things.
Yeah. That's good.
So
good.
On to the Nephilim.
Yeah. Oh man. So here's my thing. In the beginning of all that, right? So there's a lineage that they talk about right as they're beginning, right as the story of Noah is beginning. And I'm going to butcher this teaching, but Hebrew names all have meaning.
100%.
Right? And specific meaning. And so here's a little Bible trivia for you. Do you know who the oldest person in the Bible was?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Methuselah, right?
Yeah. Methuselah. And I think it's like 989 years.
969 years.
There you go. The longest recorded lifespan that we have in Scripture.
Correct.
And the name Methuselah means when he dies, it will come.
Correct.
Right?
The flood.
Alluding to the flood. Right?
Yeah.
And so if and this is the point that's always driven home to me, whatever happened that caused God to have to feel like the flood was the only solution to cleanse the earth, right, of sin and of brokenness.
Yep.
He needed a witness.
And here's the other side of it.
A witness not for him, but for us.
Right. And the longest living person's lifespan of him trying to show grace another way. Trying to provide another, right? Like if he withheld his wrath for the longest lifespan of a recorded person that we have, right?
Yes.
According to Scripture,
100%.
biblical truth.
Yes.
Then that says to me, he knew that was going to have to happen, and yet he was trying to withhold his hand, right? Like it's that whole idea of Abraham coming to him about Sodom and saying, if I can find 10 righteous men, right?
Right.
He starts off with 100, and then he starts like...
Then he's to 10, then he's to 2.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I think the Lord's intention is always to show mercy to his people.
100%.
Right? Like the first thing...
No doubt.
Right?
Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a Noah.
Yeah, right? There was a way. There was a way. Yeah. And even the first thing that happens in the garden after he casts out Adam and Eve is he kills the first animal, right? The first death in Scripture is God killing an animal so that they can be clothed.
Correct.
Right? And also the idea of clothing them in his righteousness. They're not clothed any longer in their own righteousness prior to the fall.
They're not hiding through disgrace.
Yeah.
They're now clothed
fear,
in
guilt, and shame.
Yep.
They're covered in the righteousness of God. Prior to that, they had their own righteousness that they could stand up under, right? They were without sin, so they had righteousness in and of themselves that they could stand in the presence of the Father.
Yep.
And then instead, now it has to be his righteousness that covers them.
And his righteousness came with a blood cost.
Yeah.
And that's the type that repeats over and over and over until Christ comes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is I love this is my favorite part of biblical history.
Okay.
Is 16 generations, Adam to Noah.
Yeah.
If you take the entire 16 names from Adam to Noah, it tells you the story.
Yep.
Now, I heard you allude to it, so I'm not going to butcher it as much as you would have.
Yep.
We do have a producer who probably could look up the story that the 16 names from Adam to Noah tell, and he could read it from the back ground at some point here,
Wow, if we only had a producer.
right? If you only have-
We're working on it, all right.
but
He doesn't have enough to do right now.
right. We actually do have a producer coming in 2 weeks. Just so you know, we will have one more person here in the studio.
Ooh.
I have not gotten to tell you this yet, but this is coming. But it pretty much is man. The story of the 16 names says man falls, a redemption is built, a man comes, and but it's the story of Christ told in the first 16 names through the meanings of Hebrew.
Right.
So, yes, like you said, the longest living man
Yep.
held the flood off as long as possible.
Yep.
How many people? Now I got to ask a few questions here to get
Sure.
how many. What was man's lifespan after creation? Ooh, I'm going to take one step back. I'm going to take one further step back.
Yeah.
If the earth was created in 7 physical days, morning and night, from the end of creation to the fall of man, we have absolutely no recollection of what that time span is.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It could have been millions of years of Adam and Eve living with God in the garden, which would explain all kinds of things.
Yep.
That timer doesn't start until the dominion over earth is handed from Adam to the devil
Yep.
through the choosing of the eating of the fruit.
Yep.
And so, and I say all that because it kind of matters as we're getting into some of these later discussions. And so after that fall, the timer starts. That's that 6,000 years, 6 days of creation, 1 day of rest. We know that there's a millennial reign. That's 1,000 years. You take that as the day of rest. You work it backwards. It's a 6,000 year earth broken into 2, 2, and 2, which was 2,000 from Adam to Noah, 2,000 from Noah to Jesus, and 2,000 from Jesus to the end.
Roughly. Yep.
Roughly.
Sure.
It correlates to the 2 days of creation, 2 days of creation, 2 days of creation.
Yep.
There's a lot of types, and we are firm believers in types.
Yep. No, and there are lots of patterns that we see repeated throughout Scripture, for sure. Yep.
Yes. So Noah is told when he's 350 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. He's 350 years old, and God says, I'm going to send a flood. It's going to destroy the earth, and I need you to build this ship.
Yep.
Here's the measurements. Here's how you're going to build it. Here's what you're going to do.
Yep.
So get to building.
Yep.
Now, you want to talk about having to have faith.
Woo.
Okay. You're talking, first off, it's a 100-year process.
Yeah. From start to finish.
To complete this
yeah,
mission
roughly.
God gave.
Yeah, it's roughly 100 years. Yeah.
Roughly 100 years. He has to put his entire family on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
To build a ship in the middle of land.
Mm-hmm.
When no rain has ever been seen.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No such thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the mockery? Like, dude, we're afraid to go stand up and preach on a street corner of a relationship with somebody that we actually have. We know we have, and somebody might call us a name.
Yeah.
And we cower in fear.
That's right. Yep.
This man cut down forests.
Yep.
And spent 100 years building the ship.
Yeah. Yeah. Like literally by hand, right? There's no power drills. There's no DeWalt. There's no Milwaukee.
No.
Yeah.
He's got maybe an elephant.
Yeah. Right. He might have some sort of large animal to pull the trees. Yeah.
He's got a drag blade.
Yep. Yep.
And a hand axe. I mean, this is what he's building with.
Yep.
And not only him, but his sons.
Right.
Okay. So they get this thing built, and then God says, hey, by the way, now that you're done building for almost 100 years, you need to get 2 of every animal, 7 of the clean ones, 2 of the unclean. You need to get enough to eat. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to have food, everything else. Get it packed up because it's going to flood. And, I mean, he looks around. What's going to flood?
Yeah.
There's nothing here to flood.
Yeah.
But okay, God, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And you got to think that this comes at a time before any organized religion.
Mm-hmm.
There's no specific group that he's joining with, no one to hold him accountable, no one to help strengthen him, no one to lean on.
Yeah.
It is him and his family doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, at least that's the scripture that's the picture that we see through scripture, right? He didn't have a crew of guys out there building with him, right? Like no.
Yeah, this is the picture.
Yep.
So absolute crazy man.
Yeah.
God puts them in the ark, shuts the doors,
Yep.
and for the first time in all of recorded history, it rains.
Yeah.
Okay. Paint that picture first question.
I'm sorry, but that was the first rain?
It's the first time that it's mentioned in Scripture, I believe. I don't believe that rain is specifically mentioned in Scripture. Now, we can make assumptions, right? They had food and things like that, and there were cycles to the earth. But
Yeah.
But not only that, it talks about the flowers being watered with the dew of the morning.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then you
Now
also have
we
the
are
manna.
watered with rain. It's different.
Yeah.
That it was watered with the dew of the morning.
Yeah.
And the waters above and the waters below,
Yeah.
it was a breaking of a firmament. And so this is where scientifically,
Yep.
you're familiar with hyperbaric chambers.
Yep.
We use it for life-prolonging care,
Yep.
expedited healing.
Yep.
And we know that the most catastrophic event that any human will ever endure in their lifespan, other than the moment of death, is the moment of birth.
Right. Sure.
Because the pressure change from inside of the mother's womb, inside of a water barrier, is drastically different from the pressure outside
Okay.
at 1 atmosphere.
Okay.
Plus or minus, depending. But, you're
Roughly,
I think it's 3.5 or 4 atmospheres inside of the womb prior to the water breaking, 1 atmosphere outside.
Okay.
So imagine
Drastic.
blood pressure alone.
Yeah.
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 It
Versus
is,
out
it is,
here.
Yeah.
Birth is the
Hydraulic
most-
hydraulic pressure is greater, right, than
Yeah.
air pressure.
It doesn't compress.
Yeah.
Birth is the most catastrophic event other than the moment of death that any human will ever experience during their life cycle.
Okay.
Imagine if it wasn't so. Imagine if the pressure inside and the pressure outside were much closer. Imagine living your life in a hyperbaric chamber, not isolated with no activity like we do now, laying there catatonic while you have pressure that helps healing, which is beneficial.
Okay.
But every hyperbaric chamber, you're not in there exercising. You're
Right.
not in there being active. You're just
Right.
sitting for the
Right.
pressure's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or laying down,
Yeah.
iron lung style
Yeah.
hyperbarics. There's a number of different ones. Imagine living there. That's the physical explanation of 900-year lifespans. The deterioration didn't happen.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So,
Yep. Telomeres weren't shortening. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
All these things. Like
Okay.
just
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
completely scientific explanation of
Yep.
God's rules working within the confines of what God constructed.
Yep. Yep.
Longer lifespans.
Sure.
So, first rain, not first rain. I'm a believer it probably was, just
Okay.
because of a few different references early on. But we don't know for a fact it was a first rain. But
Sure.
we all kind of have been talked
That's right.
and taught that it was. So this rain falls, water from the deep, water above, pressure changes on the earth. Now, reptiles grow throughout their entire life cycle. Reptiles do not stop growing.
Correct.
Well, if you have a 900-year-old human,
Yep.
take the same life correlation to reptiles on the earth prior to the flood, and you have every single dinosaur that you could possibly imagine
Yeah.
now just naturally exists due to extended lifespans.
There's time. Yep. 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 And yeah. And I believe I'm correct in saying that there is fossil record that we see, right, where it's been dated, carbon dated, or whatever form of dating that is being used currently, and they look at all these different components and yet there's still fossil record that can't be explained, where there's a footprint next to a dinosaur, right?
Correct.
When we take current scientific teachings and say that there was hundreds of millions of years that separated man from those beasts. Yeah.
And the number one tool that we use for that is carbon dating.
Yep.
Taking the half-life of carbon-12 and
Yep.
Now, there are two assumptions that must exist in order for carbon dating to work, and that is the sequestration rate of carbon-12 during the growth cycle
Yep.
and the atmospheric presence of carbon-12 during the growth cycle.
Right.
Both of those are assumed
Right. Not known.
to have been a constant throughout
To-
all of history.
Right. To what they are now. Right.
Correct.
Yep. 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 We use
But
now as a baseline.
If you were to have a high-pressure Earth that had a slowed deterioration, you would have a different sequestration rate, you would have a different atmospheric presence, and you would have a different deterioration rate. So thereby destroys all validity of carbon dating when it comes to anything pre-flood.
Right. Right.
So while carbon dating is valuable post-flood, not so valuable pre-flood.
Right.
Because every constant that we assume no longer is constant.
Correct.
In that-
If that's what we're using as the baseline. Yep. Right. That's it. Yep. That's it.
Producer's over here having his mind blown.
Yep.
So
So
question one.
So the base science is flawed.
Hey,
I mean,
what they're basing it on.
what they're basing it on, because
Uh-huh.
that's the thing, is that's what they go
Potentially.
to everything for. No, that never changes.
That's right.
But then again, if it's different on different heavenly bodies,
Yeah.
if the decay rate is different, then that throws the whole measure.
Well, just like Mars never had water, yet now in the last year and a half, all of a sudden, Mars is a wet planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's covered in ice on
Or
on the
dried
poles.
oceans
Yeah.
and
Right. Well,
yeah.
it has to do with Marduk.
Right.
Well, they found water in the same way on the moon too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. But
Yeah.
the reason that Mars is the way it has to do with Marduk. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marduk.
Marduk. I don't know Marduk.
Okay, so the whole
Here we go.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a comic strip about a dog, right?
That's
Yes,
yes,
that's
yeah,
Marmaduke. Yes,
Marmaduke.
Marmaduke
The
is-
big Great Dane.
yes.
Yes.
So, how many souls
Okay.
were on the ark? And what is the definition of a soul?
Whoo. Okay. So
Let's reverse the questions. What is the definition of a soul?
yeah. So the definition of a soul that I would acknowledge is I would say that it is that's the say the heavenly body, that because there's passages in scripture where it talks about God foreknew us before we were in our mother's womb,
Okay.
right? And so I believe that that's the soul, right? What is interacting with the Father before it is placed into that group of cells at conception,
Okay.
right, is the soul.
Okay.
I think.
I can agree
I
with you on
think
that.
that's my rough kind of
I-
off the cuff definition. I
I
guess.
can definitely agree with you on that, and I'm going to
Okay.
be very careful with some of
You're
these
good.
things
You're good.
because there's a furtherance of another conversation that builds from this.
Okay.
So I can definitely agree with you that the pre-existence of incarnation
Yeah.
is the soul.
Okay.
Okay. So does every human born have a soul?
Yes.
Okay. So how many souls were on the ark?
So right, we know Noah, his wife, his 3 sons.
Ham,
4
Shem, and
sons?
Japheth.
Yeah, 3 sons, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then their wives, right? So that's 6,
Right.
7, 8, and then we don't know. I don't recall any of them being pregnant, so I don't think there was one hidden in the oven there. So I would say, I guess by that math, 8 souls.
Okay. That's what the Bible says is 8 souls.
Yep.
But you have to define what a soul is in order to have the outcome of the conversation.
Okay.
Is a soul age of accountability? That's why I asked, because
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
believe that it is at the moment of inception.
Yep. Yep.
Or conception.
Conception. Yep. Yep.
Is the soul exists.
Okay.
Okay. The soul is the spiritual realization of a unique DNA strand.
Okay. Okay.
So the Bible says that there were 8 souls on the ark.
Okay.
Noah would have been 450 years old.
Okay. Yep.
Plus, and these are, I'm going to
Yeah.
plus
Right.
or
We're
minus.
rough. We're rough in there. Yeah.
We're
yeah.
rough
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth
Yep.
would have been about 120,
Okay.
maybe 140, somewhere in that time frame. I'm a little less
Okay.
solid on those. I know that
Okay.
Noah was 450.
Okay.
They go through the flood,
Yep.
lands on a hill.
Yep.
They get off the ark.
Yep.
Now, we know that Noah was 350 when God said to build the ark. We know
Yep.
that Noah had kids at around 320 years old,
Okay.
plus or minus
Okay.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem, Ham, and Japheth are 100 years old, 120, 140, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
That's from memory. It's actually pretty closely called out in the Bible.
Okay.
But they get on the ark with their wives, yet to have children, which
Mm-hmm.
seems very funny to me
Okay.
that you're that old without children, yet their father was 200,
Right.
300 before
Right.
he had his
Whatever.
first kid.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Right? So you have 8 bodies, 8 souls that get off this ark.
Okay.
Okay. Where are the Nephilim at this point?
Well, so by that argument, by the initial argument that I was positing, right, then the Nephilim killed, right? Like that. So here's and I know where you're going with this. But go ahead. So right, the argument is that he brought the flood to kill the Nephilim, but what I think he was trying to do was kill the spawn of the Nephilim, right?
So what are the Nephilim?
Well, the Nephilim were the spawn. The Watchers were the ones who were sent down, right?
So it all depends on what book you're reading.
Yes,
and
right.
your interpretation.
Right. So the Nephilim, I believe that they were part of the heavenly host that followed Lucifer when he left heaven.
Okay. So
See,
so
I
you're
learned
referring
I learned
to,
it different.
Okay.
I learned that it was the those who abstained. Those who didn't pick a side were sent.
Okay.
Were sent down.
Okay.
But different stories, different places.
Yeah. No. Yeah. For sure.
So
sure.
Book of Enoch, you have the Watchers, you
Yep.
have the Seekers, you
Yep.
have the Nephilim,
Yep.
you have the Seraphim,
Yep.
the Cherubim. There's
Yep.
angels are not angels.
Yep. Different hosts. Yep. Heavenly hosts. Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Angels are not angels. They're a description of a category of a multitude of different heavenly beings.
Okay.
The word angel.
Okay.
The Nephilim, in my opinion, were the fallen.
Okay.
Without getting too in deep of what were they before, what are they after,
Yeah. Yeah.
they were the sires of the daughters of men.
Yep. Yep. The men of renown. Yep.
They were the sires of the rotten offspring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the earth was full of the rotten offspring, and there is so much of it involved, so as that there is a number of people that posit that the reason that Adam was the only one who was allowed on the ark was he was the last of a pure bloodline.
Noah. Yes.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Noah.
Okay.
I said Adam.
Okay.
Meant Noah.
No. Gotcha.
That he was literally the last of a pure bloodline, that there was no others that were not messed up DNA.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't see any biblical reference to that, but
Yeah.
It makes sense. Really, if you think about it.
I could see that. I could see that thought process.
Yes.
Yep.
But it just goes to show how messed up it was.
Especially how much time he spent with Methuselah
Yeah.
before
Right.
I'm separated from the rest of
Yeah. There's
humanity.
1,000 years going on, right? Of
Yeah.
just trying to. Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. And
Yeah.
it's knowing his wife.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
So, are the Nephilim still around today?
So I don't think, to my knowledge, and again, this is coming from what I read in Scripture, I don't believe that angelic beings have a lifespan, right? Like the angelic
Okay.
beings, I don't believe die.
Okay. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
So the Nephilim still exist today.
Yeah.
If they are the fallen angelic beings,
Yeah.
then they still exist today.
Right.
Okay. So if 8 men get off the ark,
Yeah.
or 8 people,
Yeah.
4 men, 4 women, and those people's whole objective is to glorify God, worship God. God just saved them. Like, they have this super relationship. They had something very unique.
Yeah.
For them to bring the stories of Zeus, Apollo, Woden to you, so on and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
is nonsensical.
Sure.
To think that the beings that existed before the flood are the stories that come out of these 8 people. It's not like they got to go get rid of stories, cut it out.
Gotcha.
8 people got off that ark
Gotcha.
who just lived through miracles.
Yep.
But with that said, what happened at the rainbow? God did something to man at the rainbow.
Aside from making a promise that he was never going to wipe the earth again.
Correct. Aside
Okay.
from that, there was one other thing that happened in that interaction.
Okay. What was it? Go ahead.
Man's lifespan was shortened to 120 years.
Okay. Yep. Man's life will be given 120 years. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's the outcome of the flood is we got rid of a hyperbaric chamber,
Yeah.
and God declares it's now 120 years.
Okay.
That's the natural, in my opinion. There is no longer a hyperbaric chamber, and God is declaring
Okay.
man is 120
Interesting.
years.
Interesting.
It's 14 generations from Noah to Abraham.
Okay.
Okay?
14. It's not 16.
Maybe it's 16.
Okay. I thought that
I
16
thought it was-
number repeated for
I
some
thought it was
reason.
16 to Jacob, which is Israel. I think Abraham is 14.
Okay.
I
I
could-
think you're right. I think
I
you're
could
right.
be wrong.
Yep. I
Like-
think you're right. Go ahead.
I'm really good with concepts.
Yeah.
Not the best with exact figures.
I got you. Sure.
Okay. But it does matter. But I'm pretty sure that's to Jacob, which is Israel.
Right. Okay.
So 14 generations.
Yep.
Who is your 14th great grandfather?
I have no idea.
Mike?
There's a lot of adoption in my family.
I don't know mine either.
Yeah.
I can trace my name back
Okay.
to Wales in, I think it was 1600s was the
Okay.
earliest that we were able to go back with the genetic stuff.
Okay.
How far back can you go?
I can only go probably 4 or 5 generations.
Okay, so we're in modern era.
Yeah.
We have writing, we have photographs, we
Yeah.
have censuses, we have,
Yeah.
and we can go back maybe 5 generations.
Right.
Okay. It was very, very possible, plausible, and not unexpected that Abraham could have sat at the feet of Noah learning Bible stories.
Whew. Interesting. Huh. Okay. I haven't thought of that before. Okay. Interesting.
Well, we got a lot of overlaps, even today that we don't even think about in the short amount of time. I mean,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't realize, like Queen Elizabeth had the same exact birth date as Marilyn Monroe.
yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff like that where we think that there's a huge, because again, how we process time in our brains,
Yep.
think there's a huge, massive gaps between stuff.
Yep.
But it's really not. I mean, the last century was only 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well, in what, like,
But the last century was 25 years ago.
yeah.
You?
Yeah. No, I remember hearing something the other day, and it was something like Picasso died in the 70s or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'm like,
And
wait,
I was
no,
thinking
no, no,
of
no,
like,
no, no,
I
no,
was
no.
thinking of him like 1800s,
That's
you
right,
know?
that's right.
Yeah.
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 So, to put that in perspective,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
If you could go back and sit
Yep.
and have a conversation
Yep.
with George Washington.
Yep.
Now, none of the people between, everyone else is gone.
Sure.
But you can go sit and have a conversation with George Washington. Would that be amazing?
I would change your life, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 10 generations.
Right.
So let's go back another
Right.
100 years.
Yeah.
From George Washington.
Yeah.
So we're talking 1676, not 1776.
Right.
We're talking
Right after
Plymouth.
Columbus. Yeah. Right after Columbus, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking when Plymouth Rock was
Yep.
settled upon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
William Brewster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Imagine William Brewster still lives in a house in
Yep.
Plymouth.
Yep. You get to go have a
And at
conversation.
any point you want to, you can go talk with him
Yep.
about what it was like
Yep.
to sail the ocean blue
Yep.
and settle a place that wasn't settled,
Yep.
and what it was like to have the first Thanksgiving, and what it was like to start seeing the interactions and the growings and the changes.
Sure.
But with how cool that is, nobody in between is still alive. It's just him
Yeah.
and 3 other people.
Yeah.
What is your thought process of that individual?
There's something different about that person. Yeah.
Godlike?
Yeah. Right. It certainly
Immortal?
Right. Certainly, that would be something you'd start to ascribe to someone that was that age, that was still sitting there having a conversation with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Noah lives 300 and no, let me think about that. Just over 400 years after the flood.
Right. Yeah. Because he's 700 and change or something like that when he dies.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
So he's just about 400 years. He lives after the flood.
Right.
Mathematically,
Yeah.
he died when Abraham was somewhere in his 70s.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know that I've looked at that before. Okay.
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 Mathematically, Shem, Ham, and Japheth
Yep.
still lived another 250 years beyond that,
Right.
with every generation in between dead and gone.
Yeah.
Now,
That's almost 1,000 years right there.
so
Yeah.
here's a question for you,
Yeah.
for either one of you. 3 primary gods of Roman Empire.
It's
Roman?
Roman.
It's Zeus,
No, Rome would be Jupiter, Ares, and
not Apollo, is it?
Yes.
yes, Apollo,
Okay.
and
Okay. Hang on.
Pluto.
You just gave me 3.
The brothers.
3 brothers.
Yeah.
Every single major
They're
Godhead
all from
story
3 brothers.
has 3 brothers,
Yeah.
has a father who
Okay.
disappears partway
Okay.
through the story.
Okay.
Zeus
Okay.
disappears from Mount Olympus, leaving 3 brothers.
Well.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. No, my brain's spinning here. Yep. Go for it.
Okay.
Keep going.
Mount Olympus.
Yep.
Mount Ararat.
Yep.
Okay. Every single primary Godhead story.
The mountain
in
that Gilgamesh
every
climbed.
Single. So we'll make that
Valhalla.
tie. That tie's coming.
Valhalla
That
was
tie's
up
coming.
on a mountain that
So-
floated in the sky.
Every single Godhead religion has a primary God
Yep.
who disappears partway through the story.
Yep.
3 sons
Yep. Okay. I see where
and
you're going.
demigods.
Yeah.
So here's where the demigods come in. Flood, 120 years.
Okay.
Baby making, baby making, baby making, baby making, baby making, baby making.
Okay.
To where the great grandson of Noah,
Yep.
you know his name,
It's go for it.
Nimrod.
Yeah.
Nimrod.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
I knew it too.
So Nimrod, the great hunter before God,
Yep.
murders his father,
Yep.
marries his mother.
Yep.
So, and sires a child,
Right.
Oedipus Rex.
builds a tower to exalt humankind
Yep.
to the place of God.
Yep.
During the building of this tower, languages get confounded,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Babel. Yep.
okay, which is Babel. So, we take a book called Jasher.
Okay.
You know the book of Jasher?
I've heard of it, but I don't know it.
It's one of the missing books from the Bible.
Yep. Yep.
And in the book of Jasher, it tells us that Esau kills Nimrod.
Okay. Okay.
14 generations. Where this is
Yeah.
where all these numbers and generations and
Yeah.
so when Nimrod gets killed,
Yep.
he's just over 200 years old.
Okay.
Okay. Even though God gave us 120 years, there's
Yeah.
the first generations afterwards still stretched.
Yep. Yep.
But after the Tower of Babel, man's lifespan is shortened to 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that shortening sticks a lot faster than the 120-year shortening.
Mm-hmm.
Nimrod, at the time he's building the Tower of Babel, is the ruler of, I think it's 5 cities named in the Bible.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Which is why I say baby making, because Noah's great-grandson
Yep.
rules over a multitude of cities,
Yep.
large enough that he decides to build a ziggurat to reach God,
Yep.
large enough that they can attempt to build this ziggurat,
Yep. Yep.
large enough that they have enemies in other cities,
Yep.
large enough that when he builds the ziggurat and God confounds and conforms the languages, every language on earth essentially is created,
Yep.
right? So we multiplied fast.
Sure.
Nimrod builds these ziggurats later in life. You ever heard of the name of Isis?
Yeah. Sure.
How about Osiris?
Sure.
How about Semiramis?
Yep.
Isis murders his father, marries his mother, Osiris, and sires a child named Semiramis.
Yep.
Huh, where have we heard that story before?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
with brothers
Okay.
Horus
The
and
oldest-
Set. The same. With the same
imagine that.
exact,
Happens
Oldest
again.
stories. Yep. Yep.
and they're the gods of the
Yep.
same stuff too.
So
Yeah.
correct. They're yes. So here's another one. The oldest written document supposedly is the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Sure.
Do you know what Gilgamesh's other name is historically?
I don't.
Nimrod.
I haven't heard that.
So
Okay.
Gilgamesh
Okay.
rules in the land of Kadesh, in the city of Ur,
Yep.
and he does a long trip across the city of Ur to visit his great-grandfather who lives in the mountain, who saved all of mankind from a flood.
Noah.
Yep. Yep. It's crazy.
And what is he? He's on a mission through the entire story
Right.
to get back immortality.
yeah.
It never.
Which is building that tower to the sky. So
Right.
all of these things,
and it's
is to
after
say
the
this.
after the cap on age was put, 120 years. He's like, okay, no, you're not going to live like you know that your ancestors did. No, you've got this 120 year, which is what sends him on that quest, because that's what it is to after Enkidu dies, is
Yep.
realizing that no, mortality is coming,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes to try and find immortality, which
And so
Wow.
here's the thing that's interesting over those lifetimes of great pieces of literature like this. How much is one influence the other, or this one influenced that one, or how much is it a mirror of another, or retelling of the same story from a different perspective?
I think a lot more of it is mirrors than anything, and here's why.
Yeah.
Here's why. The stories cease to align after that moment.
Mm-hmm.
After the confounding of the languages,
Yep. Yep.
the stories cease to coexist.
Yep. Yep.
And so here's my thought process. We all speak the same language. We all know that Noah lives in the mountain.
Yep.
He's been there for 200
Sure.
years. He's outliving generation
We
after
know where to go
generation.
see him. Yep.
We
Yep.
know we can go sit at his feet and hear the stories. He
Yep.
is a god,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then his sons live hundreds of years longer.
Yep.
We know who these people are. Chances are we've gone and paid homage to them. We've gone on a pilgrimage.
Right.
We've done these things.
Right.
We're working, and all of a sudden, our languages is confused.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that we can all use as a moment of clarity in discussion?
Those unifying characters.
Those unifying characters.
Yeah.
So Noah
Mm-hmm.
becomes Zeus, becomes Apollo,
Sure.
becomes, and I'm going to mess them all up because this wasn't on my agenda tonight to memorize all these names. But Noah is that God.
Yeah.
The kids are the other gods, and the 120s born from those kids are
Interesting.
all of the demigods.
Okay.
That's where these stories come from
'Kay.
of extended lifespans
Okay.
and everything else. I mean,
Sure,
it's
sure,
even
sure.
in the names of our days.
Sure.
We have Sun's Day,
Yeah.
Moon's Day,
Yeah.
Piu's Day,
Yeah.
Woden's Day,
Yeah.
Thor's Day,
Yeah.
Frita's Day,
Yeah.
and Set's Day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and it's all
completely-
mixed in.
Yes,
It's all mixed together.
it's all the different religions because it was the unifying factor of cross-language communication of the one thing that was easily identifiable as steady. And that's where all the gods come from. That's why all of the stories are kind of the same. That's why
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
focal points are the
Yeah.
same.
That's
at least
interesting.
at least the origins themselves being so similar.
Yeah. There's enough.
Yeah.
There's enough that ties them together that you have to look at it over the years and say, huh.
And then also the geography alone.
Right.
You look at the span across. I mean, you could argue that it all came from that one little spot in Mesopotamia. It's like,
Right.
then why do we have the same exact types of lore and religion across the world?
Right. in
Because
South
then the
America.
language was confounded.
Yeah.
They had to move away
You
from
look
each
at the
other because
Hopi.
of conflict.
The Hopi are one of them. That
Yeah.
they look at like the Hopis' religion compared to the Sumerians with the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Well,
if you change the names of everything,
Yeah.
and you told the stories side by side, it's creepy.
Yeah.
How much? Well, they never would have possibly had contact with each other.
Even the Dena'ina people here in Alaska
Yeah.
can communicate in the Southwest.
So you know who they are.
Yeah. Right. They're the. Go ahead.
No, tell me.
They're an extension of that tribal migration.
Yeah, but where did that tribal migration come from?
Asia.
Historically.
Asia.
Negative.
Okay.
Well, Asia in what route?
I would say over the land bridge.
Over the land bridge, so you're talking west to east
Yes.
in the aspect of U.S.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what they teach in school.
This is what
they
yep,
teach
this
that
is what
everybody
I-
came
yep,
over
yep, yep.
110,000
Go
years
for it.
ago. So
So,
Are you saying Pangea?
no,
Okay.
no. So these are my favorite things to study because I love looking at unique things.
Yeah, for sure.
I do. Solomon,
Okay.
as in King Solomon of the Bible,
Okay.
he ruled the planet.
Okay.
300 wives, 700 concubines.
Mm-hmm.
Queen of Sheba
Yep.
was, excuse me, do I turn that off? The Queen of Sheba
Okay.
was probably a concubine of his,
Okay.
which is why we have the Ethiopian Bible, which is why we have the Jewish religion in Ethiopia, which is why that is where it is very, very well surmised that the Ark of the Covenant is hidden and put
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Yep.
we got that's an episode
yeah.
on its own.
Yeah.
It's
It's
Ethiopia.
all through the Queen of Sheba
It's
and her
crazy.
relationship with King Solomon.
Okay.
Okay. The tribe of Dan was a seafaring people that their job was to go about the world and collect the taxes for the Wood of Goshen
I
for
haven't heard that. I don't know that I remember that, but go for it. Go. Keep going. I see. Go ahead.
So-
Tie it together.
so the Danai people,
Okay.
as in the mountain Den-al-E, as in a direct translation of
The Great
Dan,
One.
the Great One,
I've never heard that.
Denali.
Okay.
Den-al-E,
I've never heard that.
the Danai people of Dan.
Yeah.
So-
Interesting.
They are the remnant left
Okay.
behind
Okay.
of
All right. I've got some research to do before our next talk.
before our next talk. And here's some things you can look at.
Okay.
Is Israeli culture.
Yeah. Well, I've got questions. I'll be there in February.
Okay. I love it.
Yep.
So you'll be where?
Israel.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So
I need to use the head real quick.
what?
We're
I gotta-
actually.
yeah, hey, I think
I gotta
it's time
work.
for a break.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to keep going, I could. I just need to use the restroom.
I would love to keep going.
Let's
Like-
go for a few more minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sticking around. Feel free to drop a chat in there if you have any questions for the guys, and we'll get them here very shortly.
Moses
Okay.
400 years ago. And that's a long time.
Yeah. Right.
But
Right.
400 years.
Okay.
When Jacob goes to leave, Joseph cannot put himself back into the inheritance position because the inheritance position has already been severed. Plus, he would have had to give up the inheritance position of the house of Pharaoh.
Okay.
But what he does do is he takes Manasseh and Ephraim, his two eldest born sons, and says to his father, adopt them into my place. And so when the Egyptians leave, or when the Israelites leave Egypt,
Right.
they leave with 11 and 2 halves,
Yep. Manasseh and Ephraim. Yep.
not 12.
Okay.
And it matters because when we go into the promised land and we conquer this side Jordan, or this side the Jordan,
Yep.
that is the inheritance of 2.5 of the tribes.
Right.
But the men must still go fight until the inheritance of the other 9.5 tribes.
Right. That's what they commit to. Right.
Correct.
We like this land. Give this to us as our inheritance, but we'll still go forward. Yep.
And fight
Yep.
for the other 9.5.
Right.
And so, and the 9.5 settle on one side, the 2.5 settle on the other, making 11 and 2 halves,
Okay.
which is 13 by name,
Okay.
12 by number.
Okay.
And there's so much that plays into that when it comes into the way that God told them to camp in the desert and how many were in each tribe, and the fact that if you categorically follow the camping directions that God gave them of here's the tabernacle, you will camp to the north, to the south, to the east, and the west by tribe, and each tribe had a number.
Yep.
Put that on a scatter plot and see what you come up with.
Okay.
You come up with a cross in the desert.
Interesting. Okay.
So even then, the tabernacle was the center of the cross.
For sure.
And Israel was a pointing way.
Yeah.
So when you get to Israel, we say the Jews are there. That's who lives there. Who are the Jews?
So yeah. Okay. Go ahead. I know what you're. Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So Jews can be 3 different things. One, it's the initial name of those of the tribe of Judah.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Jews can also be those of the kingdom of Judea, and the kingdom of Judea was 2 1/2. What it does not include is 9.5 tribes.
Okay.
Either way you use that word,
Yep.
it does not include 9.5 tribes.
Okay.
Why does it not include 9.5 tribes? Because they are the 10 lost tribes.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that phrase, the 10 lost tribes. I'm not as that.
So the
that's-
lost tribes of Israel is
Yep.
when they came in and got conquered. I want to say it was during 400 years before Christ.
Okay. Yep. So that would have been. At the end there. That was Nehemiah who was rebuilding the temple walls. So that would have been like the Assyrian.
When Nebuchadnezzar,
Okay.
I think, came in.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
They were dispersed so far across the earth
Yep.
that 10 of the tribes never returned. Still
Okay.
to this day, there are 10 lost tribes of Israel.
Okay.
One of those lost tribes is Dan.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. I've got some stuff to think about. And I'm a guy who feels like I know the Bible pretty well. And so that's interesting.
And I don't say to challenge you.
No, it's
I'm
good.
so intrigued by it because
Yeah.
when I go to Israel,
Yeah.
and I want to go to Israel someday,
Sure.
and I want to walk where Jesus walked, and I want to see the places where Paul preached, and I want to see the miracles of the Bible
Yep.
from the memorials that were built throughout the conquering of the lands.
Sure.
I mean, there's just unending, right?
Sure.
I get to actually watch the Bible come to life by
Sure.
being there.
Sure.
And then I think, is the nation state of Israel today the Israel of God's? Are the people that are there the people of God's? Does it even matter? Right?
Yep.
So much to unpack.
Yep.
Has
Yep.
nothing to do with, I want to go where God was
Yep.
because I want to see it.
Yep. And here's the other side of it for me, because this is what I feel when I visit specifically Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
If we follow the eschatological or the end times teachings of the Bible,
Uh-huh.
then when there's a new earth, it's Jerusalem.
Absolutely, unequivocally.
And
12
so,
colors.
and so when I visit, I feel like I'm going home.
Oh,
And so that's one of the things that's really cool for me
okay.
about that is it
Okay.
feels like coming home. And also I get to like, okay, I feel like I'm getting to learn the city where we're going to spend eternity a little bit. Right. And I don't know, this is just my own brain.
That's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it feels like coming home, and all the people that are there, I feel that same thing from them. Right. Whether they be Arab or Jew or Gentile. Right.
Okay.
Like it just, I love the people there in that region. So.
I've been to that region. I've never been to Israel. I love being in that region.
Yeah.
I love the historical implications of being there.
Mm.
I truly do.
Yeah.
Like Masdar City.
Okay.
I would love nothing more than someday to have a business that has an office in Masdar City.
Cool.
I think it's Masdar City.
Okay.
It's a city built around business in the
Yeah.
Middle East.
Yeah.
There's reasons, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're at the end of our time for
Yeah,
this run.
man. Yeah. Right. We could keep going. So
I-
it's good. We'll have to
Dude,
do this another time.
I could sit here all night. I could burn you out. I think this is my jam.
That's awesome.
So here's my deal. I've always said if I could figure out how to make a living from running my mouth,
Yeah.
right? Bought a radio station, still didn't get to do it. Did other things, still didn't get to do it. And it's hence one of the reasons I asked: are we called? Are we pre-appointed? Are we predestined?
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that God gave me a mind and a temperament
Mm-hmm.
to be successful at this kind of a platform.
Sure.
Am I supposed to be preaching? Am I supposed to be? Or maybe is this okay? Is this where God wants me? These are some of the things I challenge myself with daily.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that right now this is where God wants me, and maybe someday I'll be able to make a living at this. But until then, I'm going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I promise you that much.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that whole idea of doing flowing out of being. This is who you were always meant to be, right? Like if that truly is like scratching that itch on that deep a level for you, like if it is like, no, this is something that I feel like I am like created to do.
Oh, it is.
Right? Then
It
that is doing flowing out of being.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I loved it when you said that, because
Yeah.
that's where I'm living right now.
Yeah.
I just would like someday for this to be able to supplant the hours I can't do this, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could do this 8 hours a day,
Yeah. I hear you.
and I would never tire of this.
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm working on it.
There
I
we
know
go.
we're working on it, but if I
There
can
we
do this
go.
8 hours a day,
Here we go.
Well, we
No,
got to give
that's
some
awesome.
shout outs to some of our chatters here who were helping us keep the podcast going. Of course, Jenna Mashad, she's out there. She gave us a bunch of help. And Johnny, where was he? Johnny Furlong.
Oh,
hey,
Johnny
look at
Furlong.
that.
There
Hi,
we go.
Johnny. How are you, Johnny? If you're still there,
Yeah. But yeah, we did good today for a second show. You know,
So good.
Up to 20. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
It'll
I'll
just
take
keep
it.
growing from there.
That's a good time.
I'll
And
take
once a producer actually knows what he's doing, it'll be a whole much better.
we'll get there, man. It's like
It looks
I
a
said,
lot better tonight than it did last week. That's
That-
for sure.
Dude, either way, this was a fun conversation, and being able to sit and have these conversations, I think, is important.
I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to say thank you very much, Mike, for
Thank
coming
you.
and joining.
Yeah, I appreciate
And
it.
what I'll try to do
Mhm.
is
Jenna says you should go to Israel with Mike.
so real quick, Jen, I'll tell you, when we were on the break, since you're listening, I told Mike, I said, this time, due to the fact of what we already have on schedule with our travels and the documentary, there's no way that we can schedule it in this time.
Yeah.
But I told Mike, and I'm going to tell you, Jenna, next time you guys schedule a trip, we're coming along.
Awesome.
I'm putting that out there right now.
Love it.
I would love to go. So thank you for the thought of the invite, and we will schedule it on the next one for sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be the first remote. I'll have to go along.
There you
know,
go.
yeah.
And you know what? I tell you what, even more than I love having a conversation with a friend across the table, getting to travel with a friend is a super cool experience.
Isn't it?
Sharing
Yeah,
experience.
that's exactly
You know,
right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Especially when you come back and you're telling stories and they're the same story but two completely different versions of the
That's
story.
right.
Kind of like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah, it took a few books to get it all right, right?
That's my favorite part about the Gospels is the fact that they're all telling the exact same story.
That was my
but
my
from
whole
a
thing is like
completely different perspective.
my wife was asking, she's like, what's the difference between the Bible and the Jewish Bible? And so I broke it down with the Torah and all that, and she's like, well, I thought those were all different stories in the New Testament. I'm like, no, that's the point. Mm-hmm. Is they are different versions, different viewpoints of the same events.
Yep.
You know, and there is differences between
There are
them.
a few, right? There are a few,
yeah.
few miracles that are included in one that aren't in the other, and absolutely.
But then there's that old argument of, you take 6 people and throw them on a scene and have a murder happen, and you're going to find 6 different stories on how it happened. So
that's right.
Which, hey, it kind of the same thing.
That's right.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I just had to feel important. Y'all are just going off blowing minds over here.
It's good. It's good, man.
I
It's
love
good.
it. So
all right.
Thank you, Mike, and we'll be sure to do this again, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I was telling Mike, I think the next time it'd be fun to get both you and Josh in here at the same time, and we can all kind of sit and have a
that sounds like a blast.
Part conversation.
Yep, that sounds like a blast. I'm down.
Okay.
Yep, you tell me.
All right, perfect. Thank you all for joining us, and keep spreading the knowledge that this exists so we can get more viewers, and maybe we'll be able to give you a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you all soon.
And also, if you have a subject that you'd like to have brought up on, make sure to let us know as well. You can go ahead and email me directly, moondog@khits1071.com, and we'll take a look at him.
Yes.
Because he's got a lot to talk about. And with that, we're going to call it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.